Chapter 1257. I am Lu Ming. Lu Ming cupped his fists and replied. Since Long Quan had helped him just now, he had a good impression of Long Quan. Naturally, he would answer Long Quan's question. Lu Ming. Ah, great. A young hero. It's rare to be able to cultivate to such a level at such a young age in the continent of God. It would be a pity if you don't take part in the assessment. On behalf of the Divine Dragon Valley, I invite you to take part in the assessment. Long Quan said loudly. No, he can't take part, young Master Lin shouted. Shut up. Who do you think you are? Who are you to interrupt me when I'm speaking? Long Quan's eyes turned cold as an extremely powerful aura burst out. The terrifying aura caused the entire area to tremble. Young Master Lin's face turned pale. I invite Lu Ming to take part in the assessment. Do you have any objections? Long Quan looked at the 9 Heaven Sword sect and Sky Demon sect before looking at the white-haired old man from the Heavenly Divine sect. No objections. Of course I have no objections. The leaders of the 9 Heaven Sword sect and Sky Demon sect nodded. Since he is so powerful, I have no objections. The white-haired old man from the Heavenly Divine sect said. Damn it. Young Master Lin hollered in rage and was filled with unwillingness. Ah, that's great. Lu Ming, what do you say? Long Quan laughed and looked at Lu Ming again. Senior, how can I reject your kind intentions? Lu Ming cupped his fists. All right, let the assessment begin. Long Quan waved his hand. Whoosh, whoosh. Their figures flashed as they rushed into the light gates one by one. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing separated. Each of them chose a light gate and rushed in. At this moment, some of them had already gone in for a while, but there was still no movement. As soon as Lu Ming rushed into the light gate, he felt a ray of light enveloping him. His body felt slightly warm. In the next moment, the feeling disappeared. Lu Ming found himself in a tunnel. The passageway was very wide, and the surrounding walls were covered with shining inscriptions. According to the rules, they had to keep going forward in the void tunnel. Whoever reached the end would be the winner. Lu Ming took a step forward. There was no movement along the way. After walking for a few thousand meters, the appearance of the passageway changed. It was now surrounded by stone walls. As soon as Lu Ming stepped into this passage, his expression changed slightly. The reason for that was because at that moment, the aura emitting from his body began to weaken rapidly. In the end, it returned to its ordinary state. His cultivation had been suppressed, making him seem like a mortal. Not only had his Zhen Yuan, but his state of mind and bloodline been suppressed as well. Lu Ming sensed carefully and found that his prison-suppressing steel bloodline was glowing, and there was even a trace of fluctuation. As for the third bloodline, Lu Ming felt that he could completely control it and it was not suppressed at all. Only the 9 Dragons bloodline was completely suppressed. Lu Ming's expression did not change as he looked around. On the surrounding stone walls, there were messy carvings of different depths. They were in a disorderly mess. In front of him, a light flashed and a figure condensed. This person looked like a young man in a black robe. He had a cold expression and carried a long spear on his back. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this person was condensed by a formation. Whoosh! The long spear shook, and the spear light stabbed at Lu Ming like lightning. However, the spear light did not contain any Zhen Yuan. It was probably just physical strength, which was comparable to Lu Ming's physical strength. Lu Ming subconsciously wanted to use the power of his third bloodline to defeat this figure. However, Lu Ming immediately stopped releasing the third bloodline. This level could even suppress the 9 Dragons bloodline, which meant that he was not supposed to use his bloodline power to pass. If he used his bloodline power, it might be sensed by others. That would be too special. His prison-suppressing steel bloodline, especially his third bloodline, was very special. He did not want others to discover it. Thinking of this, he did not use his bloodline. Instead, he used his physical strength and rushed to the right because there was a black spear there. Whoosh, whoosh. The spear light was like lightning enveloping Lu Ming's body. This was an extremely exquisite spear technique. Although its power was not great, the trajectory of its movement was incomparably exquisite. Lu Ming had no Zhen Yuan in his body and he could not use his intent realm. He could not use any martial skills to resist at all. He could only rely on his physical strength to dodge. Rip. Lu Ming's back was cut by the spear light, tearing a hole in his clothes. If not for Lu Ming's quick reaction, he would have been injured. Fortunately, Lu Ming had fought countless battles along the way and was very experienced in combat. He took a few steps and dodged the attack. He rushed to the front of the black spear, picked it up and swept it out. Clang. The 2 spears collided with a clang. Lu Ming felt his arm go numb and he took 2 steps back. The black-robed youth condensed by the formation had the same physical strength as Lu Ming, but he had the support of a mysterious martial skill. His attack power was above Lu Ming's. Whoosh, whoosh. The cold tip of the spear transformed into rays of sharp cold light, piercing through the air and piercing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming held the spear and stared at the opponent's spear light. He then stabbed out a few times. But in the next moment, Lu Ming's face changed. He felt that his spear had stabbed nothing. He was very confident that he could block the opponent's attack with a few stabs. But after stabbing out, he found that he had stabbed nothing but air. The opponent's spear tip shook slightly, and then continued to stab at him. The exquisiteness of the spear art was really unfathomable. What a powerful spear art. It combines strength and speed to the peak. When used, it is unpredictable and hard to predict. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. If his cultivation was not suppressed, such a spear art, although incomparably exquisite, would be useless in front of absolute power. Lu Ming's palm strike could break any exquisite martial skill like tofu. But now, under the situation where his cultivation was suppressed, this martial skill was able to display a great power. Bam! At the critical moment, Lu Ming took a step back and his body retreated far away. But there was still a wound on his chest. He had been stabbed by the spear tip. Whoosh, whoosh. As Lu Ming retreated, the black-robed youth's spear aura surged towards Lu Ming like an endless tide. Lu Ming retreated and tried his best to dodge. At the same time, he was thinking about how to counter the opponent's attack. At this moment, outside the ancient city of the ruins of deity, outside the void tunnel, countless people stood in the air and watched. Suddenly, the light door shone and a figure appeared. Someone has failed. Someone whispered. Obviously, someone had failed and was teleported out. Sigh. Those who were teleported out shook their heads and sighed. They could not even pass the first round. It was almost impossible for them to be chosen by the major sects of Yuanlu. The people of the 4 major sects of Yuanlu were expressionless. They did not even look at those who had failed. Chapter 1258. People continued to fail and were sent out. Suddenly, a light spot lit up in the void ahead. It was very eye-catching. Everyone hurriedly looked over and found that a battle stage had appeared in the light spot. A young man stepped onto the battle stage. That's Bing Kong from Divine Palace North. I didn't expect him to be the first to pass the first stage. He is the strongest genius of the younger generation of Divine Palace North. He really lives up to his reputation. Many people exclaimed as they recognized the young man. Divine Palace North was the strongest force of the 4 Divine Palaces. As the number 1 genius of Divine Palace North, his strength was absolutely terrifying. After Bing Kong came to the battle stage, he sat cross-legged on the battle stage and waited quietly. Now that he was alone, he couldn't continue. He had to wait for the other tunnels to converge with his tunnel, and wait for others to arrive on the battle platform. Only then would the victor be able to continue. At this time, another light spot appeared in another direction. There was also a battle stage in the light spot. A young man with a guqin on his back stepped onto the battle stage. This young man was slender and elegant. He had a faint smile on his face and looked like an elegant gentleman. The strongest genius of Divine Palace East Edian. Edian of the Phoenix Guqin. Someone said and revealed the origin of this person. This person's reputation was no less than Bing Kong's. Edian carried a guqin on his back and waited quietly on the battle stage. Almost at the same time, 2 light spots appeared in the void. Like before, there were battle stages in the light spots. A young man stepped out from each of them. One of them had purple hair and a heroic spirit. He was the number 1 genius of Divine Palace South, Zi Wuji. The other one had a battle sword on his back. His whole body was like an unsheathed sword. Sword chi filled the sky. This person was the strongest genius of Divine Palace West, Sword Battle. The strongest geniuses of the 4 Divine Palaces had all appeared. They each appeared on a battle stage. Obviously, their void passages did not merge in the first stage. In the void passage, Lu Ming continued to dodge the attacks of the black-robed youth. At the same time, he was thinking of a way to break through. All around, the carvings on the stone walls. At this time, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The carvings on the stone walls were very strange. Upon closer inspection, it seemed to be a spear technique. It was a very mystical spear technique. As Lu Ming dodged the black-robed youth's attacks, he carefully observed the carvings. Under Lu Ming's gaze, the carvings began to change. Slowly, it looked like a figure was practicing spear arts. This kind of spear technique can break this young man's spear technique. After a while, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He finally knew what this stage was testing. It was testing one's perception. The purpose of suppressing one's cultivation, conception, and bloodline was to allow the examinees to comprehend a spear art based on the carvings on the stone wall so that they could overcome the other party's spear art. Of course, it was impossible for everyone to be proficient in spear arts. Some people were proficient in sword arts, so it was possible for them to encounter sword arts. Once the key point was discovered, it was not difficult for Lu Ming. Lu Ming's perception was already very shocking. Whoosh, whoosh. The long spear in Lu Ming's hand shook, and a sharp spear light shot out like lightning, colliding with the long spear of the black-robed youth. Clang, clang, clang. A series of violent sounds rang out. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows. I can indeed break the other party's martial arts. The more Lu Ming used his spear, the faster it became. The long spear was like a black dragon, dancing in the air. Whoosh. After another dozen blows, the long spear in Lu Ming's hand turned into a black lightning bolt, breaking through his opponent's heavy spear barrage and piercing his heart. The black-robed youth exploded. The first stage passed. Lu Ming stepped forward. After crossing the passage, a bright light flashed in front of him. It was actually a battle stage. Lu Ming stepped onto the battle stage. I'm still alone. Looks like I have to wait. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he sat cross-legged on the battle stage. Outside, the onlookers naturally saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming is indeed powerful. He's the sixth person to pass the first stage. It's amazing that a genius of the divine wilderness continent can do this. Some people were discussing. Just now, after the four strongest geniuses of the four cardinal divine palaces stepped onto the battle stage, the number one genius of the Blood Sun continent, which was ranked second in the Divine Ruins continent group. The number one genius of the Blood Sun continent was the fifth to step onto the battle stage. After that, Lu Ming was the sixth to step onto the battle stage. After a while, more and more light spots appeared in the void. The other powerful geniuses of the four cardinal divine palaces, such as Bing Bing, Ji Hongqin, Wang Zhen, etc. Long Qin also stepped onto the battle stage at about the same time as these geniuses. Then Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and the others appeared one by one. The first stage was actually not too difficult as long as the key point was found. Although many people were eliminated, there were more who succeeded. There's a passage in the void. Someone shouted. Sure enough, a light spot flashed and a void hole appeared on the side of the battle stage. A youth stepped out from it. There were two people on the battle stage. These two people had to fight. The winner would continue and the loser would be eliminated. The two of them soon engaged in a fierce battle. Then more and more void passages appeared and merged together. Of course, it was impossible for the loser to pass the stage. Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged. Suddenly, the battle stage shook and a passage appeared on the side of the battle stage. A young figure appeared from the passage. This person walked out of the passage and stepped onto the battle stage. When he saw Lu Ming, his expression changed drastically. Lu Ming's combat strength when he fought with Master Lin was too shocking. He had seen it with his own eyes. His combat strength was worlds apart from Lu Ming's. I'm so unlucky to encounter such a freak in the first stage. The youth's mouth was full of bitterness and helplessness. Lu Ming stood up and walked towards the youth. Lu Ming, I know I'm not your match, but I'll do my best to fight with you. The youth said. This was not an ordinary battle. That was the recruitment of disciples by the Yuanlu sect. He could not admit defeat. No matter what, he would fight. Only by showing his strength to his heart's content, he might be chosen by the experts of the Yuanlu sect. After all, the Yuanlu sect did not recruit disciples. It was based on combat strength. No one knew the standards of the Yuanlu sect. What if he was chosen? Do your best. I'll give you a chance to do so. Lu Ming said. Thank you. The youth cupped his fists. Then he performed the bloodline fusion and unleashed his strongest combat strength to attack Lu Ming. Although the youth's cultivation was not bad, it was far from Lu Ming's. Lu Ming did not defeat him immediately. Instead, he allowed the youth to unleash his strongest combat strength before defeating him. Chapter 1259. After defeating his opponent, the space distorted and his opponent was teleported out. In front of the battle platform, another void passageway appeared. Lu Ming took a step into it. At the same time, void tunnels appeared in the other battle stages. Bing Kong, Eden, Ziwuji, Jianzhan, and the others easily defeated their opponents and entered the next stage. On the Divine Wilderness Continent's side, Long Qin easily defeated his opponent and entered the next stage. Xian Yanqing was now in the 7th level of the spirit god realm and had obtained the inheritance of a supreme existence. His battle strength was also very terrifying and entered the next stage. In addition, Xian Yanjuan had obtained some kind of fortuitous encounter during this period of time and his cultivation had increased a lot. He actually entered the 6th level of the spirit god realm and defeated his opponent to enter the next stage. Heartless Monk and Yang Padian also passed by luck. However, Underworld Child and Moonless Bodhisattva encountered strong opponents and were defeated and eliminated. Outside, countless people were watching. The experts of the 4 major forces of the Yuanlu continent were also watching carefully to see if there were any good seedlings that were suitable for their sections. Soon the first stage was almost over. Originally there were more than 500 people. About 100 people didn't pass the first stage. The remaining 400 people fought in pairs and half of them were eliminated. Only about 200 people could continue and enter the second stage. Lu Ming stepped into the void tunnel again and continued forward. After about 1,000 meters, his surroundings suddenly changed and he appeared in an unfamiliar environment. Around him, powerful auras rose like smoke signals. Countless experts were fighting with each other and their killing intent was shocking. Whoosh! A terrifying sword light slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming punched out and shattered the sword light. Kill? A burly man holding a giant sword charged towards Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. What's going on? Lu Ming frowned. Why did he suddenly come here? It's an illusion. Lu Ming sensed carefully and suddenly raised his eyebrows as he saw something fishy. This should be an illusion and Lu Ming was in the middle of it. Everything is an illusion. Lu Ming muttered. His heart was unmoved and he stood firm. Kill, kill. A few armored generals, armed with giant axes and long spears, charged toward Lu Ming. Their strong murderous intent made one shudder. But Lu Ming didn't seem to see it. He let the giant axe and spear hit him, his face calm. A surprising scene occurred. When the giant axe and spear struck Lu Ming, it was as if they had struck the void or struck an illusion. Lu Ming was completely unharmed. Lu Ming's expression was calm as he stepped forward. This was a battlefield and the killing was incomparably intense. Fresh blood drifted in the air and blood chi permeated the air. The killing intent was as cold as a blade. It felt incomparably real as if it was really happening. Those with weak wills, even if they knew that this was an illusion, would inevitably be affected and develop fear. However, Lu Ming's resistance to illusions was already very strong. His heart was unmoved. He walked on the battlefield, allowing the swords and sabers to pierce his body. He was as immovable as a mountain. His footsteps were not very fast. He walked step by step on the battlefield. Young fella, die. In the sky, a loud shout was heard. A palm print that was like the hand of the heavens descended toward Lu Ming. This was definitely a palm strike from a ruler. At this moment, Lu Ming had an illusion that if the palm landed, he would immediately turn into ashes. This kind of feeling made Lu Ming have an instinctive impulse. He wanted to fight back, retaliate, and save himself. This was a human instinct. Anyone would have such an instinct when faced with such a situation. No, if I make a move, I'll only fall deeper and deeper. Lu Ming suddenly gritted his teeth and endured it, allowing the palm print to land. Boom. There was a loud bang and the palm print dissipated. However, Lu Ming was completely fine. Phew. Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The feeling of being about to be slapped to death in the next moment and having to endure not fighting back was not a good feeling. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Following that, all kinds of attacks landed on him. There were even attacks that surpassed a third-layer ruler, but Lu Ming was indifferent. He crossed the battlefield alone. In the end, it took Lu Ming half an hour to cross the entire battlefield. When Lu Ming crossed the battlefield disappeared, and Lu Ming reappeared in the void passage. In front of him, there was a flash of light. Lu Ming walked over and found another battle platform. There was no one on the battle platform. Lu Ming stepped onto the platform and sat down cross-legged. In the outside world, everyone was watching seriously. I wonder who will be the first to pass the second stage. I heard from the experts of the Celestial Divine Sect that the second stage is an extremely powerful illusion that tests one's willpower. It's very difficult. Until now, more than 30 people have failed and been eliminated. In my opinion, the first to pass is still the strongest heaven's prides from the 4 celestial palaces. They have the highest chance. That's right. Bing Kong, Yidian, Ziwuji, and Zhenzhan are the most likely. However, it's not impossible for Xue Mingyang and Lu Ming. Although Xue Mingyang and Lu Ming are very strong, they're still slightly weaker than the other 4. The surrounding spectators had already learned about the second stage from the experts of the Celestial Divine Sect. At this moment they were all guessing who would be the first to pass. At this moment, in front of the first row of light spots, another light spot appeared. Similar to the first row of light spots, there was a battle platform inside. A void passage appeared. Who will be the first to pass? Everyone's eyes were fixed on the void passage. A young man stepped out and appeared on the battle platform. It's actually him, Lu Ming. I didn't expect it to be Lu Ming. He's the first to pass the second stage. Amazing, amazing. Don't tell me that Lu Ming will be able to defeat everyone and obtain first place? Not necessarily. Lu Ming was able to reach this step from a small continent like the Divine Wilderness continent. His willpower and willpower are naturally amazing. Otherwise it would be difficult for him to reach this step. However, it doesn't necessarily represent his combat strength. It's hard to say who will be first. Lu Ming's appearance caused an uproar at the scene. The burly man from the Celestial Divine Sect snorted. He was rather unhappy. As for young Master Lin, his eyes were about to spit fire. Ah, not bad, not bad. This kid is not bad. The burly man from the Divine Dragon Valley laughed loudly. He looked at Lu Ming on the battle platform with admiration. The other experts from the 9 Cloud Sword Sect and the Sky Demonic Sect also nodded. On the path of cultivation, one's will and willpower were also very important. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the battle platform and continued to wait. In the outside world, after Lu Ming appeared, light spots began to appear one by one. This time, following closely behind Lu Ming was the number 1 genius of the Eastern Divine Palace, Eden, the young man with the guqin on his back. Next was Bing Kong of the Northern Divine Palace. Then, Zi Wuji of the Southern Divine Palace, Shui Mingyang of the Blood Sun continent appeared almost at the same time. Chapter 1260. After Long Chen it was Ji Hongqian and Wang Zhen. What was surprising was that Xian Yinqing appeared almost at the same time as these prodigies. Gradually, more and more battle stages appeared, and the number of people eliminated reached about 50. Out of the 200 people, about 50 people were eliminated. There were still about 150 people left. At this point, more than 70 battle stages had appeared in the void. When more than 70 battle stages had appeared, the void passageways where the successful challengers were at began to converge with the previous ones. Lu Ming opened his eyes and saw a passage on one side of the battle stage. A young man stepped out of the passage. Just like before, the young man's face turned pale when he saw Lu Ming. How unlucky, the young man muttered. Previously, when Lu Ming fought with young Master Lin, the combat ability that he displayed was too powerful. Those who had seen him fight were very clear that they were not Lu Ming's match. If they met Lu Ming, it was equivalent to ending the assessment in advance. I will fight with all my strength. The young man shouted and charged at Lu Ming with all his strength. However, the result was no surprise. He was easily defeated by Lu Ming. Battles broke out on the other battle stages as well. This battle was equivalent to the battle of 75 people. It was much more intense than the previous battle because those who could make it to the end were stronger. Eden, Bing Kong, and the other top geniuses easily defeated their opponents and won. That's the immemorial dragonesque elephant bloodline. The experts of Dragon God Valley who were watching the battles on the other battle stages suddenly widened their eyes in surprise. In one of the battle stages, Long Chen used the bloodline fusion technique to suppress his opponent and win. It's really the immemorial dragonesque elephant bloodline. This is shocking. The 9 dragons bloodline actually appeared in the continent of God. Now, even the immemorial dragonesque elephant bloodline has appeared. The experts of 9 Heaven Sword Sect exclaimed. That girl is not bad either. What a pure demonic chi and demonic intent. An expert from the Sky Universe Devil Sect stared at one of the battle stages. Over there, Xian Yinqing was fighting with a genius. Xian Yinqing had easily won. Ever since Xian Yinqing had obtained the inheritance of that Devil Dao expert, her cultivation base and combat strength had rapidly increased. She had advanced at a tremendous pace. Also, that's not bad either. The strong warriors of the 4 great forces of the Yuan continents were watching the battles on the battle platforms and nodding their heads. It was obvious that they were satisfied with some people. In the end, all the battles came to an end. The losers were all eliminated, and the victors entered the next stage. On the Divine Wilderness continent's side, Yang Padian and unscrupulous monks' cultivation levels were insufficient, so they lost to their opponents. On the other hand, Lu Ming, Long Chen, Xian Yinqing, and Xian Yinjuan had all advanced. After Lu Ming's victory, he continued to step into the next void passage. This stage was more difficult than the previous two stages. Not only did it test one's will, but it also tested one's combat strength. However, Lu Ming passed it easily. This time, Lu Ming was the first to pass the third stage. He appeared on another platform. However, this stage wasn't too difficult for Lu Ming. However, it was extremely difficult for the other geniuses. In this stage, a total of 25 people were eliminated. Only the remaining 50 people were able to pass the stage. What a coincidence. When the void passageways converged and a figure stepped into the arena where Lu Ming was, Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Wang Zhen. The person who stepped onto Lu Ming's battle stage was actually one of the 3 strongest geniuses of South God Palace, Wang Zhen. When Wang Zhen saw Lu Ming, his face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. It's Wang Zhen. Wang Zhen actually encountered Lu Ming so early. This battle is going to be interesting. Interesting. A battle between 2 strong geniuses. Many people were excited. Wang Zhen was one of the 3 strongest geniuses of South God Palace. Although his reputation wasn't as good as Ziwu Ji's, he couldn't be underestimated. In the entire Divine Ruins continent, Wang Zhen was one of the strongest geniuses. His combat strength was definitely not weak. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, they had never fought before. It was still unknown who was stronger and who was weaker. Lu Ming, your combat strength is not bad. Unfortunately, you have offended too many people. How about this? Why don't we make a deal? If you lose to me, I will help you settle your troubles. Wang Zhen's gaze shifted as he spoke. Help me settle my troubles? I would like to know how you are going to settle them. For example, young Master Lin must hate me to the core now. How do you want to settle this? Lu Ming said with a faint smile. My Wang family is still influential in South God Palace. If you lose to me on purpose, I will put in a good word for you in front of young Master Lin. Then you can just apologize and this matter will be over. Wang Zhen said confidently. You want me to lose to you so that you will be chosen by the major sects in Yuanlu? Since your Wang family is so capable, why don't you put in a good word for yourself? Then you will be able to join the major sects in Yuanlu. Why do you need to play such a dirty trick? Lu Ming said with a mocking expression. Lu Ming, I am talking to you nicely. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. If we really fight, I am not afraid of you. Wang Zhen said with a gloomy face. Then why are you still talking nonsense? Make your move. You don't have to worry about my matters. Lu Ming smiled faintly. You don't know how to appreciate my kindness. Bang. Wang Zhen said coldly and took a step forward. When he took a step forward, a milky white light shot up to the sky from his body. This light was extremely holy, as if it could purify all evil. Sacred light, divine sword. Wang Zhen was bathed in the pure white sacred light. He grasped the air with both hands and 2 pure white combat swords appeared in his hands. The 2 combat swords slashed out in a crisscross manner. A cross-shaped sword aura was shot toward Lu Ming. Swoosh. Lu Ming took a step forward and dodged the cross-shaped sword aura in a flash. He then charged towards Wang Zhen. Sacred light storm. Wang Zhen's body continued to spin. The boundless sacred light was driven and formed a storm of swords that rained down on Lu Ming. Child's play. Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. He unleashed the power of 9 dragons as he activated the suppressing hell skill and threw out a punch. The suppressing hell skill could suppress everything. No matter how many sword auras there were, a punch would break them. Boom. The boundless storm of sword auras was shattered in an instant. Wang Zhen's expression changed. He placed his 2 swords in front of him to block Lu Ming's punch. With a thud, Wang Zhen was sent flying by Lu Ming's punch. I don't believe it. Supreme Sacred Light Technique. Wang Zhen shouted. A milky white armor appeared on top of his head. The sacred light was vast and boundless like the ocean. This was Wang Zhen's bloodline, a set of armor. Moreover, when Wang Zhen used the bloodline fusion, it was strange. It was different from others. When he used the bloodline fusion, the armor seemed to be on his body, causing his aura to soar crazily. Chapter 1261. There was no doubt that Wang Zhen was using an intent martial technique. It was an intent martial technique of the holy light intent. This light seemed peaceful, but it had the power to destroy everything. Lu Ming's true yuan continued to circulate in his body. With the support of the 9 dragon energies, it was filled with explosive power. Boom. The hell-suppressing heaven skill was activated. Lu Ming's palm was like a knife as he slashed at the beam of light. Break. As Lu Ming spoke, the light was split in half by Lu Ming's palm. How can he be so strong? Wang Jin roared in disbelief. In terms of cultivation, his cultivation had reached the mid-stage of the 8th level of the spirit god realm, which was stronger than Lu Ming's. However, even after performing the bloodline fusion and using the intent realm martial technique, Lu Ming still managed to break his attack with one palm. Most importantly, Lu Ming hadn't used the bloodline fusion yet, so he hadn't used his full strength yet. Lu Ming's previous battle with young Master Lin wasn't limited to just this. Wang Jin couldn't accept that Lin Yun could break his killing move without using his full strength. Holy Light 9 slashes. Wang Jin's armor shone brightly as the two swords in his hands merged into one. He slashed out 9 times in a row, and the power of the 9 swords stacked together to unleash a terrifying power. Lu Ming unleashed his 9 dragons bloodline and turned into 9 dragons. His dragon claws clashed with the milky white sword light. Boom, boom, boom. 9 explosions sounded out as the milky white sword light shattered. Whoosh. Following that, the 9 dragons launched a series of attacks. Some dragon claws used the hell-suppressing heaven art, while others used the thunder god strike. The hell-suppressing steel appeared in the air and pressed down on Wang Jin. Lightning formed a phoenix that spread its wings and pounced at Wang Jin. Boom, boom, boom. The powerful attacks landed on Wang Jin's armor, causing it to tremble violently and let out an unpleasant creaking sound. In the end, it couldn't bear the pressure and exploded. Wang Jin howled in grief as he spat out large mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying backwards. The 9 dragons twisted their bodies and instantly appeared in front of Wang Jin. Their dragon claws slammed down on Wang Jin's body. Wang Jin was as weak as a chicken. He heavily smashed into the fighting ring and spat out a mouthful of blood. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Wang Jin admitted defeat in humiliation. If he didn't admit defeat, Lu Ming could continue to attack. After Wang Jin admitted defeat, the space around him started to distort and his body was sent out. Damn it, this bastard. After coming out, Wang Jin roared in his heart. He wasn't confident that he would be eliminated so early. He didn't know if he would be chosen by one of the great sects of Yuanlu. If he were to fall, he would definitely make Lu Ming pay the price. He swore to himself. Look, are they sisters? So similar. They really do look alike, and they're both so beautiful that they're devastatingly beautiful. At this moment, someone shouted. Wang Jin followed the voice and saw 2 female characters on one of the battle stages. One of them was wearing a black dress while the other was wearing a white dress. It was a stark contrast, but they looked exactly the same. They were Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan. When the 2 identical beauties met, they naturally attracted the attention of many people. Even the experts from the 4 major forces of Yuanlu were watching with interest. Isn't this girl Lu Ming's woman? Humph, let Yinjuan teach her a lesson and avenge me. Wang Jin thought to himself. In the fighting ring, Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan stood opposite each other. Their eyes were like lightning as they stared at each other. Not long after, the 2 of them fought again. This time they were determined to determine the winner. Xian Yinqing, you're a freak. Today I will officially eliminate you on behalf of the imperial family and the Xia family. Xian Yinjuan said coldly. Her eyes were still filled with arrogance and disdain. Xian Yinjuan, don't act all high and mighty. Is your bloodline very noble? In my heart it's worthless. Today I will completely trample on you and crush your so-called dignity. I will let you know that the Xia family is not worth mentioning. Xian Yinqing did not back down and continued to fight back. There's no point in talking nonsense. Let's see who's stronger. Xian Yinjuan said. Her body emitted a milky white light. It was very similar to Wang Zhen's. It was a type of sacred light. However, Xian Yinjuan's sacred light was even purer and more condensed than Wang Zhen's. 9 Heavens Sacred Region. Xian Yinjuan made the first move. She pressed her jade-like hand and sacred light spread out. It formed a domain-like force field and enveloped Xian Yinqing. This is the embryonic form of a domain. No, it doesn't look like it. Xian Yinjuan's move made the experts of Heavenly Divine Sect and 9 Heaven Sword Sect frown. They were all shocked. Especially the white-haired old man of Heavenly Divine Sect. He looked at Xian Yinjuan with great admiration. This move again. Break for me. Xian Yinqing looked calm. Her finger was like a sword as she drew a line in front of her. Numerous black lotuses formed in front of Xian Yinqing's finger. The lotuses then dispersed. The petals of the lotuses formed a lotus sword in the air and slashed at the 9 Heavens Sacred Region. With a poochie sound, the 9 Heavens Sacred Region was sliced open by Xian Yinqing. You? Xian Yinjuan's face changed. She did not expect Xian Yanqing to be able to break her 9 heavens sacred region so easily. Your cultivation is too weak. A cold voice came from Xian Yanqing. At the same time, a stronger aura than Xian Yanjuan burst out from Xian Yanqing's body. The aura of a 7th level spirit god. 7th level spirit god. How did you reach the 7th level spirit god so quickly? Xian Yanjuan shouted in disbelief. She had been very close to Wang Jin recently. With the help of the Wang family, her cultivation had improved rapidly. She had also obtained other opportunities and broken through the profound martial realm, reaching the 6th level spirit god. She had thought that no one in the divine wilderness continent could be her match. She was not even afraid of Long Qin. However, she had seen Lu Ming's strength. Even the genius of Heavenly Divine Sect, young Master Lin, was not a match for Lu Ming. She was shocked and somewhat in disbelief. It had dealt a heavy blow to her confidence. But now, she realized that even Xian Yanqing, who she had always looked down on, had surpassed her. His cultivation had reached the 7th level spirit god. She found it hard to accept. So what if you have broken through to the 7th level spirit god? I can still defeat you. Xian Yanjuan shouted. A beautiful woman's figure appeared above his head. She was as holy as the fairy of the 9 heavens. She used bloodline fusion and attacked Xian Yanqing. Heavenly demon force field. Xian Yanqing whispered. A force field spread toward Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon force field was many times stronger than before. Xian Yanjuan's body entered the heavenly demon force field. It was as if he had fallen into a quagmire. Devil's will. Xian Yanqing pinched his fingers. Demonic chi soared into the sky. Vast demonic might spread out like a supreme demonic god. Chapter 1262. Xian Yanqing was like a demoness. Her long hair fluttered in the wind, and her demonic chi was vast and mighty. She took light steps in the air and walked towards Xian Yanjuan step by step. I won't lose to you. Xian Yanjuan's beautiful face was distorted with anger and excitement. The bloodline that she had transformed into bloomed with holy light. She used all her strength to send out a palm strike towards Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing also raised her jade-like hand and lightly struck out with her palm. Bam! The two palms collided, and the holy light was instantly suppressed. The demonic chi was vast and mighty, destroying the holy light as easily as crushing rotten wood. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then Xian Yanqing waved her hand, and a black lotus condensed and fell on Xian Yanjuan's body. Xian Yanjuan's bloodline seemed to be under endless pressure. Deep marks appeared on her body and then she collapsed. Xian Yanjuan's figure appeared in the rain of light. Her beautiful face was pale, and the blood in her mouth drifted in the air like bright red plum blossoms. Xian Yanqing continued to step forward and sent out a palm strike, bombarding Xian Yanjuan's body. Xian Yanqing groaned and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Her body seemed to have been electrocuted, and she flew far away and fell on the battle stage. How could this be? Outside, Wang Zhen was dumbfounded. He found it hard to believe. After this period of time, he had a good understanding of Xian Yanjuan. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also astonishingly talented. With the help of the Wang family and her own fortuitous encounters, her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. In just a few months she had reached the 6th level spirit god realm. Even he felt inferior to such talent. Originally he thought that Xian Yanqing would win for sure, but he didn't expect that Xian Yanjuan would be defeated so easily. This woman is naturally suited for the demonic Tao. Our Sky Demonic Sect wants her. The experts from the Sky Universe Demon Sect looked at Xian Yanqing with gleaming eyes. She just has a higher cultivation. The other girl is not bad either. My Heavenly God Sect wants her. The white-haired elder from the Heavenly Divinity Sect looked at Xian Yanjuan. Around them the others were extremely envious. The examination was not over yet, but the two of them had already been selected by the two major forces. They would definitely be able to join the two major forces, regardless of the results of the later examinations. Impossible. On the battle platform, Xian Yanjuan cried out in disbelief. Her hair was disheveled and she was in an extremely sorry state. She didn't look like the peerless princess at all. As proud as she was, she found it hard to accept this result. In the divine wilderness continent, she was high and mighty, second only to Long Qin. Ever since she was young, she had been shrouded in limitless light. She was the moon surrounded by stars and was the focus of the world. On the other hand, Xian Yanqing was the opposite of her. He was ostracized by the imperial family and despised by the Xie family. He didn't even have the chance to appear in front of others. Compared to Xian Yinjuan, they were like heaven and earth. In the past, she had never thought that Xian Yinqing would be able to defeat her one day. Therefore, when this day came, she was at a loss, as if she was in a dream. What pure bloodline of the Xie family! In our eyes, you guys are just self-righteous people who are deceiving yourselves. In fact, you are weak. Today I defeated you. In the future, Xie Qitian will also be defeated by me. I will let the world know that your so-called pure bloodline is just a joke. Therefore, I won't kill you today. Get lost. As Xian Yinqing spoke, he waved his hand. A palm wind rose and sent Xian Yinjuan flying far away. The space distorted and Xian Yinjuan's figure was sent out. Yinjuan, are you okay? As soon as Xian Yinjuan appeared, Wang Zhen flew over and asked about his well-being. I'm fine, Xian Yinjuan said, but his eyes were extremely cold. Then he glanced at Wang Zhen and said, You lost too? Who did you meet? Lu Ming. Wang Zhen hesitated at first, then gritted his teeth and said, Lu Ming again. Xian Yinjuan clenched his fists tightly. At this time, the battles on the various fighting platforms had almost come to an end. Those who could reach this stage were all very strong. However, compared to the small group of people who were at the top, the gap was obvious. Therefore, the battles didn't take long. At this stage, there were only 25 people left. These 25 people were all very strong. For example, the top geniuses of the four directions divine palaces, and the second and third geniuses of the two continents. What was worth mentioning was that there were also many dark horses. Among the 25 people, only 18 of them had stepped onto Big Dipper Peak before. The remaining 7 were newcomers such as Lu Ming, Long Qin, and Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming, Long Qin, and Xian Yinqing seemed to be from the same continent. At this time, someone said in surprise, It can't be? From the same continent? It can't be. Other than the Divine Ruins continent, there are only 3 people from the Blood Yang continent who can reach this stage. If these 3 are from the same continent, wouldn't they be on par with the Blood Yang continent? By the way, which continent are they from? I know, they're from the Divine Wilderness continent. What? Divine Wilderness continent? It can't be, right? That small continent? There was a burst of discussion. When the crowd knew that Lu Ming and the other 2 were from the Divine Wilderness continent, they were all stunned and in disbelief. The Divine Wilderness continent could give birth to so many geniuses. Moreover, Xian Yinjuan should also be from the Divine Wilderness continent and had been chosen by the Heavenly God sect. If that was the case, the Divine Wilderness continent was too shocking. Outside, the crowd was discussing in surprise. Lu Ming and the others had already stepped into the void passage behind them. Not long after Lu Ming stepped into the void passage, he was faced with a storm of attacks. Figures condensed and charged towards Lu Ming. At the same time, inscriptions filled the void passage, forming an even more terrifying attack. This stage did not test anything else but pure combat strength and combat experience. If one wanted to pass this stage, they would have to fight their way through. Lu Ming unleashed his dragon power and crushed his way through. However, the further he went, the stronger the attacks on Lu Ming, and the greater the resistance. Even with Lu Ming's combat strength, he had to put in some effort. Outside the void passage, there were flashes of light from time to time. It was the experts who were eliminated and sent out. It can't be. This stage is so difficult that even such geniuses are eliminated. Some people secretly clicked their tongues. Those who could reach this step and enter the top 25 were all amazing geniuses. However, there were still people who were eliminated. It was obvious that this stage was too difficult. That's Shui Ku, the second-ranked genius of the Blood Yang continent. And Ice Dragon, one of the 4 strongest geniuses of the North Divine Palace, was also eliminated. This is too shocking. The space flickered again and again as geniuses were sent out. Ice Dragon's face was gloomy. He felt extremely embarrassed that he could not even pass the stage. Did you notice that the 3 geniuses from the Divine Wilderness continent were not eliminated? It's true. Could it be that they can pass? This is too unbelievable. Some people thought of Lu Ming and the other 2. Chapter 1263. In the end, even geniuses like Ji Hongqian were sent out of the 4 sacred palaces. Look, someone passed. Suddenly, someone shouted. In front of them, a dot of light lit up, and a figure appeared within the dot of light. It's Eden, the Eden of the East Sacred Palace. It's really Eden. It's not Lu Ming, nor is it Bing Kong. It seems like Eden's combat strength is terrifying. The fact that Eden was the first to appear surprised everyone. After all, Lu Ming's performance was very strong. Many people thought that Lu Ming would be the first to pass. This time, it wasn't a battle stage that appeared in the light spot, but a platform that could only accommodate one person. At this moment, another light spot appeared not far from where Eden was. This time a figure appeared. It was the strongest genius of the North Sacred Palace, Bing Kong. Similarly, there was only a platform beneath Bing Kong's feet. He stood on the platform and looked at Eden with sharp eyes. It seemed like they could see each other. Eden also looked at Bing Kong. There seemed to be sparks between the two of them. The second to succeed is Bing Kong, not Lu Ming. It seems like I overestimated him. It's very normal. The first few stages tested one's willpower. Lu Ming's willpower is strong, but it doesn't mean that his combat ability can overpower everyone. Eden, Bing Kong, and the rest are extremely terrifying and have unparalleled combat ability. I'm afraid they can defeat young Master Lin. Shall lower your voice. Some people discussed, but they quickly shut up and looked in the direction of the Heavenly Divinity sect. Unfortunately, although their voices were soft, young Master Lin still heard them. This made his face even darker. In the void tunnel, Lu Ming was still trying to pass the stages. However, he didn't use his strongest combat strength, nor did he use the bloodline fusion. He only used the power of 9 dragons, the intent realm, and the suppressing hell skill to pass the stages. I feel like my water intent is about to break through. In the midst of the battle, Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. His concept of thunder, concept of fire, and concept of wind had already broken through to the peak of the 4th level when he was in the ruins of God. His concepts of earth and water were still at the peak of the 4th level. Now, after a series of great battles, the concept of water finally showed signs of breaking through. As such, Lu Ming wasn't in a hurry. He focused on operating his concepts to resist the outside world. He couldn't miss such an opportunity. If he missed it, he didn't know when he would be able to break through again. Lu Ming's speed of clearing the levels gradually slowed down. As time passed, the number of people who succeeded gradually increased. Following Eden and Bing Kong were Zi Wuji, Jianzhan, and Shui Mingyang. Behind Shui Mingyang and the other two, a young man with skin as hard as iron stepped forward. Everyone recognized that this person was the number 1 genius of the 3rd continent, Tai Hong of the Divine Iron Continent. Soon, a stunning woman appeared. This person was also a dark horse. She had risen from a small continent and had attracted many people's attention. Now she was the 7th person to succeed. Lu Ming hasn't appeared yet. It seems like his battle strength isn't ridiculously strong. That's right. Many people were discussing. This made young Master Lin's face even gloomier. His heart was conflicted. First, he thought that Lu Ming couldn't pass and was eliminated. However, this meant that Lu Ming's battle strength was low. But if Lu Ming, who had low battle strength, could defeat him, didn't that mean that he was even worse? Now, hearing others say that Lu Ming's battle strength wasn't good, he felt very uncomfortable. It's all that Lu Ming's fault. Young Master Lin secretly gritted his teeth. In the void there were 7 spots of light. Each spot of light was a platform and the 7 people stood on each platform. It was as if there was a transparent bubble in the void, wrapping around each platform in an arc. They could see each other. At this moment, another spot of light appeared, and a figure appeared on the platform. It was Long Qin. The 8th person to appear was Long Qin. That's Long Qin from the Divine Wilderness Continent. He's only at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. It's unbelievable that he could pass the challenge. Yeah. Even Ice Dragon and Ji Hongqin, who were at the 8th level of the spiritual god realm, were eliminated. He can pass the challenge with his 7th level of the spiritual god realm cultivation. Long Qin's appearance caused a wave of discussion. It was extremely shocking. The ancient dragonesque elephant bloodline, one of the top 10 battle beasts. It's unfathomable and unpredictable. The eyes of the experts from the Divine Dragon Valley were burning. The other 3 forces were also tempted. It was extremely rare to awaken such a bloodline, even in the Yuan continent. Immediately after Long Qin, another dot of light appeared. Then, a beautiful woman walked out from the dot of light. Xian Yanqing. Many people's hearts skipped a beat and they were surprised. Obviously, they didn't expect the person to be Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing was the same as Long Qin. He was also at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. Even the experts of the Yuan continent's 4 major forces were surprised that he could pass the challenge. How is this possible? Seeing Xian Yanqing's figure appear, Xian Yanjuan's body trembled violently. His face was filled with disbelief and he couldn't accept it. Xian Yanqing could pass the challenge, which meant that he didn't use much of his strength in the battle with her. This was a huge blow to her. Due to jealousy, The muscles on her face were slightly contorted, making her look ferocious. Xian Yanqing and Long Chen looked at each other and nodded slightly. They then looked around, and when they didn't see Lu Ming's figure, they were surprised. In their opinion, Lu Ming should have passed the challenge long ago. He will definitely succeed. It's just that he was delayed by something. Xian Yanqing muttered. She had full confidence in Lu Ming. Everyone waited quietly. After a while, 15 people had been eliminated. There were originally 25 people, but now 15 people had been eliminated. 9 people had passed the challenge and 1 person was still trying. Obviously that person was Lu Ming. What's going on? Lu Ming hasn't come out yet. He hasn't been eliminated and he hasn't passed the challenge. It's really strange. What's so strange about it? I reckon that his combat strength isn't good enough. He's just struggling and can't bear to give up. He's just trash. There were also people who were disdainful and mocking. Everyone looked over and saw that it was Ice Dragon, the genius of the North Divine Palace. On the celestial god sect's side, young Master Lin's face darkened again. He was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. Lu Ming defeated him. It was an indisputable fact. Now that others were belittling Lu Ming and Lu Ming, it was the same as belittling him. They said that Lu Ming was trash. Didn't that mean that he was worse than trash? He was attacked even when he was lying down. How could he not be depressed? However, he couldn't do anything about it. Did he have to stand up for Lu Ming and teach those who belittled Lu Ming a lesson? Chapter 1264. Time passed slowly, but Lu Ming still hadn't appeared. 10 minutes, half an hour, an hour. 2 hours had passed, but Lu Ming still hadn't appeared. Some people were getting anxious. Nestle, what's going on? Lu Ming still hasn't appeared. What's going on? Did he die in there? No way. If Lu Ming died in there, the celestial sect's experts would definitely know. Now that they haven't said anything, it means that Lu Ming isn't dead yet. Then why is it taking so long? After so long, even some people who thought highly of Lu Ming were shaken. Previously, Lu Ming had defeated young Master Lin, which made some people think highly of him. They thought that even if Lu Ming couldn't get first place, he would be able to get into the top 3. But now many people were shaken. Some people even guessed that Lu Ming might have used some kind of secret technique in his battle with young Master Lin, which allowed his battle strength to skyrocket in a short period of time. However, there was a huge aftereffect. At this moment, his battle strength was probably exhausted and he was struggling to hold on. As time passed, more and more people accepted this view. Lu Ming didn't know any of this. He was still in the void tunnel, resisting the attacks from all directions. Now, he was constantly weakening the power of the suppressing Hell Heaven skill. He was mainly using his intent to fight and train his intent. As time passed, his understanding of the water intent grew stronger. The feeling of a breakthrough also grew stronger. After a few hours, suddenly, the blue light in the 5-colored intent around Lu Ming suddenly shone brightly. The blue light represented the water intent. The water intent had broken through and reached the perfect 4th stage. Now, only the earth intent had not reached the perfect 4th stage. If the earth intent also broke through to the perfect 4th stage, then Lu Ming only needed to find time to constantly devour and refine origin stones. Then Lu Ming's cultivation would continue to break through until he reached the perfect spirit god realm. Of course, it wasn't that easy to reach the prime stage. He needed to transform his intent into a domain. The breakthrough of the water intent had slightly increased Lu Ming's battle strength. Although it wasn't much, it was better than nothing. It's done. Lu Ming revealed a trace of a smile. He pressed down with his palm, and with the support of the 5-colored wills, the power of the suppressing Hell Kung Fu skyrocketed. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's palm was like a hell-suppressing heavenly steel, suppressing the heavens. All around, the offensive power formed by the human figures and the formation was crushed one by one. Lu Ming's speed became faster and faster. There was no way to stop him. In less than 3 minutes, Lu Ming had already covered a distance of 10 miles. In front of him there was a platform. Lu Ming stepped onto it. He passed. It's Lu Ming. He passed. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, there was an uproar all around. It took me more than 2 hours to clear it, hee hee. Some people sneered and snorted disdainfully. Poof, poof. When Lu Ming's figure appeared, the light spots that appeared in the first and second stages were like bubbles, dispersing one by one. In the end, only 10 people managed to pass the trial. As soon as Lu Ming stepped onto the platform, he looked around and saw Xian Yanqing, Long Chen, Yi Dian, Bing Kong and the others. He exchanged glances with Xian Yanqing and smiled tacitly. Then he nodded at Long Qin. As for Yi Dian, Bing Kong, Jianzhan and the others, their gazes fell on Lu Ming. Some were serious, some were disdainful, and so on. In the void, the 10 people formed a circle and floated in the air, looking at each other. At this moment, in the center of the 10 people, a light dot floated out. Slowly, a battle platform formed and floated in the center of the 10 people. It seemed that the battle of the 10 people would begin on this battle platform. Suddenly, 2 of the platforms flew toward the battle platform. Yi Dian and Tai Hong. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. The 2 people flying toward the battle platform were Yi Dian and Tai Hong. After the 2 of them flew to the battle platform, the platform under their feet disappeared automatically. The 2 of them landed on the battle platform and stood facing each other. It seemed that the battle was random. The 2 people who flew to the battle platform would be the 2 who would fight. Yi Dian, let's fight. Tai Hong's eyes were filled with battle intent. The muscles all over his body and the color of his skin were like divine iron, emitting a cold light. Come, Yi Dian said. It was very simple. He grasped the void with one hand and his true essence condensed into a 9-string zither. You don't use a real spiritual weapon? Tai Hong's eyes turned cold. When the time comes, I will use it, Yi Dian said. His voice was calm, but it revealed his confidence in himself. How arrogant. Don't regret it. Tai Hong snorted. The muscles all over his body wriggled and his body swelled up. The metallic luster became even more intense. A pair of gloves appeared in his hands. He stomped hard on the battle platform and his body turned into a black light, charging toward Yi Dian. With a punch, the entire battle platform shook violently. Clang, clang, the 9-string zither in Yi Dian's hand floated in front of him. He played the zither with one hand. Sonorous sounds filled the air. It was as if thousands of troops were on a punitive expedition. The sound of the zither was filled with cold killing intent. Tai Hong's expression suddenly changed. He shouted and punched the air with both fists. Clang, clang, clang. Tai Hong punched the air and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Sparks flew from his fists. Around the battle platform, endless energy shot out. It was incomparably sharp. Luckily, there was a layer of light around the fighting stage that blocked these attacks. Whoosh! Tai Hong's body shook in midair and he took a few steps back. The 9-string zither in Yi Dian's hand also vibrated. He slid back a meter. So strong. Many people's hearts trembled. The short exchange allowed them to see the strength of the 2. Tai Hong's cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level spirit god realm. He was stronger than Bing Bing, Ji Hongqian and the others. He wasn't weaker than young Master Lin. And Yi Dian was even more unfathomable. Many people couldn't see through Yi Dian's strength in the previous exchange. Again, godly iron sky breaker. Tai Hong roared. His entire body turned into metal. He was like an invincible god of war as he charged toward Yi Dian and used a martial technique of intent. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of Yi Dian's zither also started to become hurried. It was as if millions of experts were fighting. The killing intent was shocking. This kind of attack could kill without leaving a trace. It was absolutely terrifying. Clang, clang, clang. Bursts of explosions sounded in the air. They were even denser than when iron was being forged. In an instant, hundreds of sounds rang out. Tai Hong's voice was like a bell. The more he fought, the fiercer he became. Sometimes he completely ignored his defense and attacked crazily. His body was a supreme spiritual weapon. It had unparalleled defense and unparalleled attack power. Lose for me. Tai Hong's eyes were ferocious. Chapter 1265. Tai Hong was like a war machine as if he was made out of a piece of divine metal. His offense and defense had reached the pinnacle. He kept moving forward, breaking through Eden's Guqin music and charging towards Eden. Phoenix cry. At this moment, a clear voice came from Eden's mouth. At the same time, his Guqin music suddenly changed. It was as if a phoenix was soaring into the sky. A phoenix cry resounded through the sky. One could see a phoenix flying out of Eden's 9-string Guqin. A flaming phoenix bathed in phoenix flames flapped its wings and pounced towards Tai Hong. Bang, bang. Tai Hong swung his fists continuously, wanting to defeat the phoenix. However, in the end, not only did he fail to defeat the phoenix, he was also pushed back by the phoenix. He was pushed back 100 meters and his fists were burned red by the flames. Chirp. The phoenix continued to cry as flames spread out and flew towards Tai Hong. Break. Tai Hong shouted as his true yuan boiled. An Iron Man appeared on top of his head. In the ancient times, it was said that a human emperor had created an Iron Man. Tai Hong's bloodline was this Iron Man. There were 9 major meridians on his body that were like 9 small suns. They shone brightly. Tai Hong's Iron Man form was even more powerful. He kept attacking the flaming phoenix with his fists. Boom, boom, boom. After dozens of explosions, the flaming phoenix and Tai Hong were evenly matched. It was hard to tell who would win. However, at this moment, the cry of another phoenix was heard. A cyan phoenix flew out. This azure phoenix was bathed in the power of wind. It cooperated with the flaming phoenix. With a flap of its wings, the wind helped the flames. The flames filled the sky and spread towards Tai Hong. Tai Hong was shocked. He tried his best to block, but he was still no match for the 2 phoenixes. He kept retreating. How powerful! Eden's strength is unfathomable. That's right. Tai Hong's cultivation has reached the peak of the 8th level of the spirit god realm. He's only a little weaker than young Master Lin, but he's no match for Eden. Eden is too powerful. He hasn't even used his bloodline yet. He hasn't even used the Guqin on his back. The onlookers stared at the battle stage and the battle between the two. Their eyes were filled with shock. They were only of the younger generation. With such strength they could definitely fight against a prime. He could be called a supreme youth. After exchanging a few more moves, Tai Hong was no match for Chen Shi in the end, and he was completely suppressed. In the end, his bloodline was defeated, and he had no choice but to admit defeat. After Tai Hong admitted defeat, he was sent out. Suddenly, a stone staircase appeared in front of the battle platform. At the bottom of the stone staircase was a platform. Eden's figure was sent to the platform. He tried, but he couldn't climb the stairs at all. So, he stood on the platform below the stairs and watched the upcoming battle. As expected, 2 more platforms flew towards the middle of the fighting stage. This time it was the beautiful lady and the other person was Bing Kong. That beautiful woman's battle prowess was also extremely terrifying. She was not weaker than Tai Hong. Unfortunately, Bing Kong was even stronger. With a wave of his hand he could freeze everything. His intent realm martial skill had been cultivated to an unfathomable realm. It didn't take long for him to defeat the beautiful woman. The beautiful woman was teleported out, and Bing Kong, just like Eden, appeared on the platform below the stairs. Then 2 more platforms flew to the fighting ring. Long Chen. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. One of them was Long Chen and the other was Jian Zhan. This battle stunned everyone. It wasn't because of Jian Zhan, but because of Long Chen. Jian Zhan's cultivation was unfathomable, and his battle prowess was extremely powerful. His sword radiance was shocking, and the power of his sword principle was strong. Everyone was prepared for it. However, Long Chen's battle prowess was beyond everyone's expectations. Long Chen's cultivation was only at the middle 7th level spirit god realm, but his battle prowess was so strong that even the experts from the Yuanlu sect were dumbfounded. Long Chen had transformed into the immemorial dragonesque elephant bloodline. With his bloodline martial skill as the main and his intent realm martial skill as the support, he unleashed an extremely terrifying battle prowess. It was as if the real immemorial dragonesque elephant was born and swept across the world. The immemorial dragonesque elephant was one of the top 10 battle beasts. It was famous for its battle prowess. Not many existences in the world could compare with its battle prowess. It was absolutely terrifying. Obviously, Long Chen had gained a lot in the ruins of God, and his battle prowess had increased. Although his cultivation was far behind Jian Zhan, he was defeated after more than 50 moves. This made Jian Zhan's face extremely gloomy. He was only dealing with a middle 7th level spirit god realm martial artist. With his battle prowess, it took him more than 50 moves to defeat Long Chen. This made him feel embarrassed. The Divine Wilderness continent is really amazing. Many people exclaimed again. 3 people from the Divine Wilderness continent had made it into the top 10. Moreover, Long Chen's battle prowess was too terrifying. My Divine Dragon Valley wants this kid. He's compatible with my Divine Dragon Valley. An expert from the Divine Dragon Valley said with a burning gaze. What a joke. Although the immemorial dragonesque elephant has the word dragon in it, it has nothing to do with a real dragon. Don't flatter yourself. I think he's suitable to join my 9 Heaven Sword sect. An expert from the 9 Heaven Sword sect sneered. In my opinion, he's the most suitable one to join my Divine Sky sect. The white-haired elder from the Divine Sky sect said. Only the Heavenly Universe Demon sect did not say anything. After all, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect cultivated the demonic Tao. If they chose the wrong person, it would be useless no matter how talented he was. After 6 consecutive battles, there were only 4 people left. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Zi Wuji, and Xueming Yang. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 of the platforms flew towards the battle stage. Lu Ming was a little stunned because these 2 people were Zi Wuji and Xueming Yang. Only he and Xian Yanqing were left. In the end, it was his turn to fight with Xian Yanqing? The 2 looked at each other and smiled. Xian Yanqing showed his white teeth and waved his little fist at Lu Ming, making Lu Ming smile bitterly. The battle between Zi Wuji and Xueming Yang broke out. This was the most intense battle so far. Zi Wuji was the strongest genius of the Southern Divine Palace, while Xueming Yang was the strongest genius of the Blood Yang continent, which was ranked second on the continent. Their battle strength was almost the same, and the battle was extremely fierce. The 2 exchanged more than 500 moves. In the end, Zi Wuji won and won with difficulty. This battle made everyone clearly realize how terrifying Zi Wuji and Xueming Yang were. Early stage 9th level Spirit God Realm. Zi Wuji and Xueming Yang's cultivation were both in the early 9th level of the Spirit God Realm. Reaching such a cultivation at such a young age was shocking. Needless to say, Sword Battle, Eden, and Bing Kong were equally famous as Zi Wuji. Their cultivation had definitely reached the 9th level of the Spirit God Realm. This made the young men from the 4 major forces of the Yuan continent look a little solemn. Obviously, it was beyond their expectations that there would be such young geniuses in the Divine Ruins continent. After the battle between Zi Wuji and Xueming Yang ended, Xueming Yang was sent out, and Zi Wuji appeared on the platform below the stairs like the previous victors. Chapter 1266. The surrounding onlookers were also quite surprised. It wasn't difficult for them to see that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were definitely lovers. But now this pair of lovers was arranged to fight together. Everyone was very curious. What would the outcome of the battle be? On the battle stage, Lu Ming rubbed his nose helplessly. Lu Ming, why don't you admit defeat? Xian Yanqing smiled playfully. Her big eyes narrowed, revealing a sly look. I admit defeat? Sure, but... Lu Ming said as he looked at Bing Kong and the others below the stairs. Winning or losing against Xian Yanqing wasn't important at all. If Xian Yanqing asked him to admit defeat, he would admit defeat. What he was worried about was that if Xian Yanqing defeated him, he would have to face Bing Kong and the others. With Xian Yanqing's current cultivation, he was definitely not a match for Bing Kong and the others. Fool, I'm just joking with you. I can't deal with those guys, so I'll leave them to you. You have to get first place, otherwise I won't let you off. Xian Yanqing smiled, then looked around and said, I admit defeat. After Xian Yanqing said that, the space distorted and Xian Yanqing's figure was sent out. As for Lu Ming, he was teleported to the platform at the bottom of the stairs. Everyone was speechless. Lu Ming won too easily. There were a total of 5 people on the platform below the stairs. Lu Ming, Eden, Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Zi Wuji. The 5 strongest supreme prides of the continent of God were born. Everyone's eyes fell on the 5 of them. Everyone's attention was on them. At this moment, the white-haired elder of the Celestial God sect stepped out and said, Next, the final battle will begin. It's very simple. You all will climb this staircase. The first one to climb the stairs will be the first, the second one will be the second, and so on. You can use any means on the stairs. As the white-haired old man's words fell, Bing Kong, Edian, and the others' eyes lit up. They looked at each other warily. Bang, bang. Suddenly, the 5 of them stepped out at the same time and headed up the stairs. As he stepped down, the stairs rumbled as if a mountain had landed on the stairs. What a strong pressure. As soon as Lu Ming stepped onto the stairs, he felt a boundless pressure pressing down on his body. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This staircase was indeed not that simple. Standing on the first step, the 5 of them were on guard against each other, preventing each other from attacking. Lu Ming, what qualifications do you have to be with us? Get the hell out of here. At this moment, Bing Kong looked at Lu Ming coldly and scolded him. Ice Dragon had been defeated by Lu Ming and had always held a grudge. He had secretly asked Bing Kong to avenge him if he had the chance. At this moment, Bing Kong immediately made his move. Moreover, the 5 people on the stage were Edian, Jianzhan, and Zi Wuji. They were the strongest sky prides of the 4 directions deity palaces and were equally famous. As for Lu Ming, what was he? How could he stand with them and compete with them? He wanted to blast Lu Ming down first. Shwa. Bing Kong's palm blasted towards Lu Ming. The cold chi seemed to want to freeze Lu Ming's blood. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he struck out with his palm, colliding with Bing Kong's palm. Bang. Bing Kong's body shook slightly as he took a step back. Lu Ming's body did not move, but a cold current flowed along Lu Ming's arm and seeped into it. Lu Ming used his five-colored intent realm to resist. A layer of white frost appeared on his arm and crackled. In the end, Lu Ming circulated his true qi and shook it, dispersing the cold qi. What a terrifying cold qi! Lu Ming felt that the cold qi was several times stronger than Ice Dragon's. In a battle of the same level, Ice Dragon was not Bing Kong's opponent, not to mention that Bing Kong's cultivation was higher. You have some strength. Let's see how many moves you can take. Bing Kong's eyes darkened as the aura on his body became even colder. Extreme Ice Seal. Bing Kong continuously struck out with his palms. The extremely cold palm energy slammed towards Lu Ming. Wherever the palm energy passed, the entire space was frozen. Everything in this space became motionless. This was a martial skill of the intent realm, and it was definitely not at the third level. It should have reached the fourth level. On the side, Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji all had grave expressions. Within Lu Ming's body, dragon power roared as all 9 dragon powers erupted. At the same time, his third bloodline emerged. A blood-red energy poured into Lu Ming's body as a terrifying murderous intent rushed towards Bing Kong. Ooh! Lu Ming circulated the suppressing hell heavenly art and punched out with both fists. Qi flew out as cold qi rampaged. The terrifying cold qi turned the entire staircase white. Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji all retreated as true qi spread out from their bodies to resist the cold qi around them. Lu Ming and Bing Kong exchanged 9 moves in a row. In the end, Lu Ming broke through Bing Kong's palm energy and charged towards him. You want me to go down first? Then I'll let you go first. Lu Ming shouted as his aura soared. The suppressing hell heavenly art in his left hand and lightning flashed in his right as he used the thunder god strike. The lightning phoenix danced in the air, and at the same time, the suppressing hell celestial skill pressed down on Bing Kong. Bing Kong's face was gloomy as he pushed his cultivation to the limit. At the mid-stage 9th layer spirit god realm, he was slightly stronger than Ziwuji and Jianzhan. His rich true qi was like a vast ocean, and when combined with his intent realm martial skill, his power was even more terrifying. Absolute Zero Ice-Sealed World. Bing Kong's black hair turned snow white. With a terrifying cold current, he launched a storm-like attack on Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two fought fiercely, exchanging dozens of moves. However, Lu Ming still had the upper hand. Now, Lu Ming had 9 dragon powers in his body. When they erupted, their power was astonishing. Just like Long Chen, even if his cultivation was lacking, he could make up for it. Lu Ming broke through the endless cold qi and charged towards Bing Kong. In the end, Bing Kong was forced back by Lu Ming's fist and blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. Following which, Lu Ming took a few steps forward. His fist force broke through the air and continuously blasted toward the ice. Bing Kong was no match for Lu Ming and was suppressed by him. His body shook violently as he retreated back down the stairs and landed on the platform below. Lu Ming, his combat power is so strong. Even Bing Kong was suppressed by him. He is indeed strong. He is only at the 8th layer spirit god realm, a level lower than Bing Kong. But he defeated Bing Kong as the weak. He is really strong. It seems like he was delayed by something before. Otherwise, with his strength, he wouldn't have been so slow. That's right. We underestimated him. Previously, when Lu Ming was the 10th person to succeed, it took him more than 2 hours. Many people thought that Lu Ming's strength wasn't strong and that he might have relied on some kind of secret technique to fight with young Master Lin. But now it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. Lu Ming's strength was shocking and much stronger than they had imagined. Even Bing Kong, who had reached the mid-stage 9th layer spirit god realm, was suppressed by Lu Ming. Such strength was really shocking. Whoosh. Chapter 1267. Bing Kong was extremely aggrieved by Lu Ming's attacks and planned to use bloodline fusion to fight a decisive battle with Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was too lazy to pay attention to him right now. He turned around and strode up the stairs. Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji were already struggling to climb up the stairs. Ziwuji, stay here. An iron sword appeared in Jianzhan's hand and slashed towards Ziwuji with a sword qi. Ziwuji's entire body bloomed with a rich purple light that condensed into a spear that pierced through the air to meet Jianzhan's attack. Eden carried her zither on her back and strode up the stairs. Lu Ming also quickly chased after her. Lu Ming, stay here. Bing Kong turned into an ice river and roared as he chased after Lu Ming. The ice river danced in the air and from it, ice arrows shot towards Lu Ming. Courting death. Lu Ming's eyes went cold. He had already let Bing Kong go, but this person still wanted a yard after taking an inch. He was simply courting death. Above Lu Ming's head, 9 dragons appeared. Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons, their claws stepping on the air as they pounced towards the ice river, their terrifying power constantly colliding with the ice river. Although the ice river was constantly sending out terrifying attacks, they were all broken apart by the 9 dragons. The dragon claws constantly bombarded the ice river, causing it to boil and tremble. Damn it! From the ice river, Bing Kong's angry roar rang out. Even if he used his bloodline, he was still not Lu Ming's opponent. Jianzhan, Ziwuji, Eden, let's join forces and defeat this person together. Otherwise, with him here, none of us will be able to take first place. Bing Kong shouted. This caused Jianzhan and Ziwuji's eyes to flash. Indeed, Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. He was simply too strong. Even Bing Kong was suppressed by Lu Ming. They knew that in a one-on-one battle, they were not Lu Ming's opponent. If they allowed Lu Ming to climb with all his strength, they would not be able to take first place. If they dealt with Lu Ming first, only the 4 of them would be left to compete, and it would be unknown who would take first place. Clang. Suddenly, Sword Battle's sword light turned and slashed at Lu Ming. Ziwuji also rushed towards Lu Ming with his spear. They really joined forces to fight Lu Ming. So what if we join forces? Then let's have a good fight. Lu Ming roared. His blood was boiling. It had been a long time since he had used his full strength in a battle between peers. The 9 dragons let out a roar as their devouring power erupted, enveloping Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji. At the same time, the 9 dragons took to the air as they circulated the suppressing hell heavenly art and bombarded their opponents. At the top of the stairs, explosions were unceasingly heard. The 4 of them were engaged in an intense battle. In this sword battle, Ziwuji used his bloodline fusion technique one after another, erupting with his strongest combat power to fight Lu Ming. For a moment, the 4 of them were actually evenly matched. Lu Ming also used all his means, including the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. This kind of secret technique was extremely powerful, causing Jianzhan and the others to be fearful. As soon as they saw the sealed gate appear, they would try their best to avoid it. Eden stood at the top of the stairs, not continuing to climb. Instead, he stood there and watched the battle below. Geniuses had their pride. At this time, he could have taken the opportunity to climb all the way to the top of the stairs, but it would be meaningless if he did so. Even if he won, it would be meaningless because the experts of the 4 major forces of the Yuan continent would be watching. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and the 3 great sky prides had exchanged more than 50 moves. This made the surrounding onlookers dumbfounded and shocked. Lu Ming's combat power was too shocking. It was as if there was no limit. The stronger his opponent, the stronger he would be. Under the circumstances where his cultivation was lower, he was able to fight the 3 strongest sky prides alone. This was too shocking. Not many people had done it since ancient times. Haha, the 9 dragons' bloodline is indeed incredible. This person belongs to my Dragon God Valley. The experts of the Dragon God Valley laughed. Haha, what a joke. You don't have to join the Dragon God Valley just because you have awakened the 9 dragons' bloodline. You can still rise quickly if you join other forces. The 9 Heaven Sword Sect's expert said unhappily. That's right. The Heavenly Universe Demon Sect also spoke. Even the experts of the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect were tempted by such a person. Only the white-haired elder of the Heavenly Divinity Sect did not speak. This was because before the Dragon God Valley, the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect and the 9 Heaven Sword Sect appeared, he had personally said that he would cancel Lu Ming's assessment. Now that Lu Ming's performance was so amazing, it was like a slap to his face. He could not bring himself to fight for Lu Ming. You guys are the ones who are ridiculous. Most of the people in the Dragon God Valley have awakened the true dragon bloodline. The weakest one is the Jiao dragon bloodline. They are all related to dragons. Those who break through to the Emperor realm cultivate the dragon body. Lu Ming is the most suitable candidate to join the Dragon God Valley. What are you guys doing? The Dragon God Valley's expert said unhappily. The others did not say anything. It was meaningless to fight now. They had to wait until the end of the assessment to see Lu Ming's decision. In the Heavenly Divinity Sect, young Master Lin's face was gloomy. The one who was the most unhappy was him. On the stairs, the battle continued. The 9 dragons roared, the 9 dragon claws bombarded, and the dragon tail swept. Every inch of his body was a weapon that could exert the strongest power. The more the battle, the more shocked Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji were because they found that they were gradually falling into a disadvantage. They had never thought that there would be such a powerful genius in the world. Even when the three of them worked together, they were still at a disadvantage. Before the assessment, they did not take Lu Ming seriously. Even if Lu Ming defeated young Master Lin, they did not care too much because with their battle strength, it would not be too difficult to defeat young Master Lin. In their eyes, the only opponents were the strongest geniuses of the four divine palaces. Bing Kong, Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji, the only opponents in their eyes were each other. They never thought that Lu Ming, a young man who suddenly appeared, would be so powerful. At this moment, the sound of a zither rang out. At the same time, a phoenix's cry rang out. A phoenix bathed in flames flew towards Lu Ming. Eden has made his move. Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji's eyes lit up with joy. Eden finally could not help but join the battle. At this moment, Eden finally took out the guqin he carried on his back and played the divine tune of the phoenix. At this moment, the phoenix that flew out was much more powerful than the one that had appeared during his battle with Taihong. The 9 dragons clawed at the flaming phoenix, sending it flying. However, the scales on the 9 dragons' claws were also burned red and almost melted. The temperature of the flames was shockingly high. Then another phoenix cry rang out. An azure phoenix flew out and cooperated with the flaming phoenix. The wind increased the intensity of the flames as they attacked Lu Ming. Good. Lu Ming shouted, his fighting spirit soaring to the heavens as he exerted all his strength to fight the four. Eden's participation made the battle even more intense. Lu Ming used all his means to kill, the power of the suppressing Hell Heaven art growing stronger and stronger. Zzz. Suddenly, lightning filled the sky and bolts of lightning as thick as an arm shot out in all directions. Chapter 1268. After an intense battle, Lu Ming's Thunder God strike finally broke through to the 4th level in one fell swoop. Intent realm martial techniques were like other martial techniques. They were also divided into 6 levels. The 4th level was already very powerful. Several dragon claws were filled with thunder and lightning. When the dragon claws stepped out, the sky was filled with thunder and lightning. Iron Sword 9 strikes. An iron sword streaked across the sky, breaking through space and slashing toward Lu Ming. Purple Chi from the east. The sky was filled with purple lights. A purple spear that was extremely sharp pierced toward Lu Ming's head. Ice on. A river of ice formed by cold air rolled towards Lu Ming. Dance of the Phoenixes. A guqin appeared above Eden's head. This guqin was engraved with phoenix patterns. This was Eden's bloodline, the Phoenix Guqin. The Phoenix Guqin and the guqin in Eden's hands merged into one. Sonorous guqin sounds burst out. This time, 7 phoenixes flew out at the same time towards Lu Ming. The 4 strongest geniuses attacked at the same time. They exploded with their strongest attacks and enveloped Lu Ming. God, they're too strong. Lu Ming is definitely no match for them. He's going to lose. Someone exclaimed. However, more people stared at the stairs with their eyes wide open. They didn't even blink. They even forgot to breathe. They didn't dare to blink. They were afraid that the situation would change if they blinked. They stared at the stairs. Can Lu Ming block it? Many people had such a thought in their hearts. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing clenched her jade-like hands tightly. She was very nervous. Lose, hurry up and lose. It would be best if you were killed by this attack and turned into ashes. Some people who had a grudge against Lu Ming secretly prayed, such as Ice Dragon, Wang Zhen, Xian Yanjuan, young Master Lin, and others. Look, Lu Ming can't block it. His bloodline is collapsing. Really, he's done for. Lu Ming is too high profile. He's fighting alone against the top 4. His defeat is already set in stone. Exclamations of surprise could be heard. At this moment, under the joint attack of the 4 strongest heaven's favorites, the 9 dragons' bloodline began to crumble inch by inch. It was as if it couldn't hold on any longer. It turned into light and dissipated. Everyone saw Lu Ming's body amidst the rays of light caused by the collapse of the 9 dragons' bloodline. However, at the next moment, Lu Ming's body was engulfed by endless rays of light and the attacks of the 4 powerful figures. Lu Ming was dead meat. Many people thought to themselves, how could Lu Ming block such an attack when his bloodline collapsed? Withdraw. At the critical moment, Yi Dian pressed the zither with both hands and ordered the 7 phoenixes to retreat. However, Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji's attacks did not diminish in the slightest and instead became even more violent. Lu Ming was too strong, which made them jealous. They wanted to take this opportunity to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. Right at this moment, a huge stone tablet rushed out from the light and emitted a brilliant light. It quickly grew to the size of a mountain. Suppress. Lu Ming's voice came out from the stone tablet. Below it, a single tablet word shone brightly, and with a shake, it shattered all the attacks. Prison suppressing steel bloodline. All around, the spectators were stunned and only reacted after a long while. Another bloodline, an 8th grade divine rank bloodline. Lu Ming actually has 2 types of bloodlines. One is at level 8 and the other is at level 9. How is that possible? And what's with his 8th grade divine rank bloodline? How can it be so powerful? It can shatter the attacks of Bing Kong and the others in one fell swoop. The scene was in an uproar. Originally, they thought that Lu Ming would be killed under this attack, but at the critical moment, Lu Ming actually erupted with another bloodline and blocked the attacks of the experts, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Prison suppressing steel. It's the prison suppressing steel bloodline. The white-haired old man from the Heavenly God sect couldn't help but exclaim. It really is the prison suppressing steel bloodline. One is the 9 dragons, and the other is the legendary prison suppressing steel. Unbelievable. The legendary 9 heavenly suppressing steel. The experts from the Dragon God Valley, 9 Heaven Sword sect, and Sky Universe Demon sect exclaimed. It seemed that seeing the prison suppressing steel bloodline was even more shocking than seeing the 9 dragons bloodline. Suppress. Lu Ming's voice resounded, and the prison suppressing steel trembled, pressing down on Bing Kong. Boom. The huge prison suppressing steel ruthlessly pressed down on the ice river, causing a scream to ring out from the ice river. Again. The prison suppressing steel was shrouded in a layer of blood-red light. That was the power of the 3rd bloodline. Lu Ming borrowed more power from the 3rd bloodline, causing the prison suppressing steel bloodline to become even stronger. Boom. The prison suppressing steel pressed down on the ice river again. This time, the ice river trembled violently and suddenly collapsed, turning into energy and dissipating. Bing Kong's figure appeared, spurting blood from his mouth as he flew far away, crashing onto the platform below the stairs and spitting out a few more mouthfuls of blood. This change was too sudden. From the moment the prison suppressing steel bloodline appeared, it launched a fierce attack on Bing Kong, and severely injured him in 2 moves. It only took a breath's time. At this moment in the sword battle, Ziwuji attacked at the same time. His iron sword and spear rushed towards Lu Ming. The prison suppressing steel shook and directly collided with the iron sword and spear. The lower part of the prison suppressing steel bloodline was the main body of the prison suppressing steel, which was indestructible. When the iron sword and spear hit the prison suppressing steel's body, they only made 2 clanging sounds before being bounced off. Then the prison suppressing steel's bloodline pressed down on the 2. With 2 loud bangs, the 2 figures were forced back again and again. Since the start of the battle, Ziwuji and the others' bloodline power had been greatly depleted. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had just used the suppressing prison monument bloodline and his bloodline power was still abundant. He continued to attack the 2 of them. During this process, Eden did not make a move. In the sword battle, Ziwuji were unable to resist more than a few moves. Their bloodlines were also defeated by Lu Ming, and their bodies were sent flying while coughing up blood. The 3 great masters were all injured by Lu Ming. Kill. Lu Ming controlled the prison suppressing steel and continued to press down on Bing Kong. A look of horror flashed in Bing Kong's eyes as he shouted, "I admit defeat." Then space flashed and Bing Kong was teleported out. Umph. Lu Ming coldly snorted and aimed the prison suppressing steel at Ziwuji and Jianzhan. The 2 were helpless. At this time, their bloodline power was exhausted and they were no match for Lu Ming, so they could only admit defeat. Now, only Lu Ming and Eden were left on the stairs. The prison suppressing steel shrank and turned into Lu Ming's appearance. "Do you still want to fight?" Lu Ming looked at Eden. Just now, at the critical moment, Eden had withdrawn his attack, which made Lu Ming's impression of him slightly better. He did not attack him. "Is there still a need?" "I'm not your match." Eden smiled bitterly and shook his head. He put away his zither and stepped out of the stairs, appearing in the void outside. At this point, only Lu Ming was left on the stairs. At this moment, Lu Ming was the focus of everyone's attention. There was no suspense in this assessment. First place was Lu Ming. This result was beyond everyone's expectations. Lu Ming fought the 4 strongest heaven's prides alone. If someone said this before, no one would believe it and they would definitely be called a madman. Chapter 1269. There was only one person on the stairs. Lu Ming turned around and walked up the stairs step by step. In the void all around, countless human figures of Dao were looking at Lu Ming. The scene was silent. Only the sound of Lu Ming's footsteps could be heard. A few minutes later, Lu Ming reached the highest point and stepped into the air, appearing beside Xian Yanqing. Well, you did well. It's worth it for me to admit defeat this time. Xian Yanqing smiled brightly. Of course. How can your man be bad? Lu Ming smiled. Don't flatter yourself. Xian Yanqing blushed. Ah, good. You're really something. You're so young and yet you have such combat strength and cultivation. Even in the Dragon God Valley, you're considered a good genius. Lu Ming, are you willing to join the Dragon God Valley? Everyone in the Dragon God Valley has awakened the true dragon bloodline. Those who break through to the Emperor realm cultivate the supreme dragon body. The expert from the Dragon God Valley laughed and came to Lu Ming. He looked at Lu Ming with fiery eyes full of anticipation. Lu Ming, although the Dragon God Valley cultivates the supreme dragon body, it's not only the Dragon God Valley that has the cultivation method of the supreme dragon body. The Nine Heaven Sword sect also has it. Lu Ming, if you join the Nine Heaven Sword sect, you can name any conditions. The expert from the Nine Heaven Sword sect said. What do you mean? Are you going against the Dragon God Valley? The expert from the Dragon God Valley looked at the expert from the Nine Heaven Sword sect coldly. The expert from the Nine Heaven Sword sect sneered, not afraid at all. The expert from the Sky Universe Demon sect wanted to speak up, but Lu Ming had nothing to do with the diabolism. He reckoned that the chances of Lu Ming being accepted were slim. After pondering for a while, he turned to look at Xian Yanqing and said, Miss, your diabolism talent is extremely pure. Our Sky Universe Demon sect specializes in diabolism. How about I invite you to join our Sky Universe Demon sect? Sky Universe Demon sect? Xian Yanqing was tempted, but after looking at Lu Ming, she shook her head and said, Thank you, senior. I'll follow Lu Ming. Whichever sect Lu Ming joins, I'll follow. Many people were stunned. Wherever Lu Ming went, Yanqing would follow? Xiaoqing, Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing and his heart warmed. The expert from the Sky Universe Demon sect wanted to say something. Aha, Lu Ming joined the Divine Dragon Valley. Only then will you be able to unleash your full potential. The expert from Dragon God Valley said. That's right. At this moment, the powerful cultivator from the Sky Universe Demon sect said, Lu Ming, you will join the Divine Dragon Valley while this lady will join the Sky Universe Demon sect. The Divine Dragon Valley and the Sky Universe Demon sect are very close to each other. You will be able to meet each other often and it won't affect your cultivation. To be honest, this lady's talent will be wasted if she doesn't join the Demon Dao sect. The expert from the Sky Universe Demon sect tried to persuade her. But Xian Yanqing still shook her head. Seniors, if we join your sect, can we delay our journey to Yuanlu for a while? Lu Ming asked. Of course. The experts from the Dragon God Valley, Sky Universe Demon sect and Nine Heaven Sword sect nodded. If that's the case, Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing and said, Xiaoqing, why don't you join the Sky Universe Demon sect and I join the Dragon God Valley? We can meet frequently anyway. The expert from the Sky Universe Demon sect was right. If Xian Yanqing followed him and joined the Dragon God Valley or other forces, it would only be a waste of her talent. After all, a martial artist's cultivation was the most important. Moreover, she didn't have to go immediately. She could go after a while. Hearing Lu Ming's words, the eyes of the experts from the Dragon God Valley and Sky Universe Demon sect lit up. Xian Yanqing pondered for a while and nodded. All right then. Senior, I'm willing to join the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said to the expert from the Dragon God Valley. Great ha. The expert from the Dragon God Valley was overjoyed. Xian Yanqing also expressed that she wanted to join the Sky Universe Demon sect. The experts from the Sky Universe Demon sect were also overjoyed. Although Xian Yanqing's cultivation was still low, her potential was limitless. Both the Dragon God Valley and the Sky Universe Demon sect were overjoyed as they each gained a peerless talent. The experts from the Nine Heaven Sword sect shook their heads and sighed. The white-haired elder from the Sky God sect looked gloomy but didn't say anything. Everyone was envious. Others could not join a sect even if they wanted to. However, Lu Ming received invitations from several powerful sections. This treatment was completely incomparable. Then, the Dragon God Valley, the Nine Heaven Sword sect, and the Sky God sect started fighting for Long Qin. After all, Long Qin had awakened the immemorial dragonesque elephant bloodline and had limitless potential. In the end, Long Qin also chose the Dragon God Valley. This made the experts from the Dragon God Valley laugh their heads off. Bing Kong, how about joining the Sky God sect? Jianzhan, how about joining the Nine Heaven Sword sect? Then the four major forces started sending out invitations to Yi Dian, Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji. In the end, Bing Kong joined the Sky God sect, Jianzhan joined the Nine Heaven Sword sect, Ziwuji joined the Sky God sect, and Yi Dian joined the Sky God sect. The Sky God sect had a variety of cultivation techniques and was suitable for most Sky Prides. The white-haired elder from the Sky God sect finally smiled. Xianyanjuan, how about joining the Sky God sect? At this moment, the Sky God sect sent out an invitation to Xianyanjuan. Xianyanjuan was overjoyed and immediately nodded without any hesitation. Then, Sky Prides like Ji Hongqian and Wang Zhen were also invited to join the four major sections. The remaining Sky Prides looked at the four major sects, hoping to be invited. You're Yang Padian, right? How about joining the Nine Heaven Sword sect? The experts from the Nine Heaven Sword sect looked at Yang Padian. This made Yang Potion's body tremble violently and his eyes were filled with ecstasy. He did not expect that he would also be invited and quickly nodded in agreement. Although this kid's cultivation is low, he has comprehended the concept of space. No wonder the Nine Heaven Sword sect picked him. Someone said, time and space were king. The concept of space was rare and powerful and only a few people had comprehended it. Yang Potion's cultivation was still low and he did not have any cultivation techniques related to the concept of space. There were many mysteries that had yet to be discovered. If he joined the major sects in the Yuanlu sect and fully developed the concept of space, it would be terrifying. Gosh, this means that 5 people from the Divine Wilderness continent have been chosen to join the major sects in the Yuanlu sect. Someone exclaimed. Everyone thought to themselves that it was indeed so. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Long Qin, Xian Yanjuan, and Yang Padian. A total of 5 people had joined the major sects in the Yuanlu sect. This number was even more than the number 2 Blood Sun continent. This made the other young Sky Prides extremely envious and jealous. The other Sky Prides looked at the experts from the 4 major sects with hope, hoping to be chosen. Unfortunately, the experts from the 4 major sects did not make any moves. They looked at the Sky Prides and frowned as if they were thinking. Chapter 1270. After that, the experts from the 4 major sects of Yuanlu did not continue to speak. Most of the geniuses who were not selected started to panic. Senior, I'm willing to join the Heavenly Divinity sect. Senior, I'm willing to join the Nine Heaven Sword sect. Please grant me my wish. One by one, the youths knelt down wanting to join the 4 major sections. You guys can't do it. You don't have enough talent and potential. The expert from the Nine Heaven Sword sect waved his sleeves and rejected them directly. Then, the Divine Dragon Valley Heavenly Divinity sect and the other sects rejected them one by one. Senior, please grant me my wish. Some of the geniuses shouted. All right, we've already made an exception by coming to the mainland of godly ruins to recruit disciples. You guys don't have to say anything more. The white-haired elder from the Heavenly Divinity sect said coldly. A faint pressure emanated from his body, causing many of their faces to change drastically. Many of the young geniuses sighed and looked disappointed. They knew that they were not fated to join the major sects of Yuanlu. All right, this trip is considered a success. Ah. The expert from the Divine Dragon Valley laughed loudly. The experts from the other 3 sects despised him. Without a doubt, the Divine Dragon Valley had gained the most from this trip. They had recruited Lu Ming and Long Qin, 2 geniuses with limitless potential. Of course it was a success. Lu Ming, Long Qin will be returning to Yuanlu soon. Do you guys want to follow us to Divine Dragon Valley now or after some time? I can tell you that the cultivation environment in Yuanlu is not something that the mainland of godly ruins can compare to. It's countless times better. Cultivating in Yuanlu will allow your cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds. The expert from the Divine Dragon Valley continued to speak. His tone was filled with temptation. Some of the geniuses who had joined the Divine Dragon Valley had their eyes lit up. Senior, I'm willing to go with you. Me too. A few of the young geniuses nodded. Senior, I still have something to do in the mainland of godly ruins. I might have to wait for some time. Lu Ming said. Then Long Qin also said that he would go after some time. All right, Lu Ming, Long Qin, take these 2 tokens. They represent that you are disciples of the Dragon God Valley. There is some information about you in them. I will give you 2 years. After 2 years, come here with the tokens and the disciples of the Dragon God Valley will come to pick you up. The Dragon God Valley expert tossed 2 tokens to Lu Ming and Long Chen. Lu Ming caught them and kept them. It is the same for the Sky Universe Demon Sect. If you are willing, you can follow me to the Yuanlu. If you are busy now, you can come back in 2 years. The expert from the Sky Universe Demon Sect said. It's the same for the Heavenly Divine Sect. The 9 Heaven Sword Sect is the same. The conditions of the other 3 sects were the same as the Dragon God Valley. Those who were willing to go to the Yuanlu could leave immediately. Those who were unwilling could come back 2 years later with a disciple token and someone would pick them up. Naturally, most of the youths expressed that they would head to Yuanlu immediately. For example, Yi Dian, Bing Kong, Xian Yinjuan and Yang Padian also expressed that they would head to Yuanlu immediately. As for Xian Yinqing, he shook his head and said that he would wait for 2 years before heading to Yuanlu. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, you guys can stay in a broken place like the continent of God. When we meet again in 2 years, I will definitely surpass you guys. Xian Yinjuan gritted her teeth. She was happy that Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were going to stay in the continent of God, but she also despised them. In fact, most of the Sky Prides despised them. Some of them could not figure it out. Cultivators should prioritize their cultivation. Moreover, Sky Prides like them were at the golden age of their cultivation. It was the time for them to advance by leaps and bounds. 2 years was enough for them to reverse the situation. They were confident that they would be able to trample Lu Ming under their feet in 2 years' time. In the end, only 5 or 6 of them decided not to go for the time being. The Divine Wilderness continent occupied 3 continents. Surprisingly, Ji Hongqian did not go either. It was obvious that she had something important to do and would leave in 2 years' time. Alright, that's it for this time. You guys can leave now. The Divine Sect will reward the 4 Divine Palaces according to their contributions. The white-haired elder of the Divine Sect said. Subsequently, the experts of the other 3 sects also said the same thing. The sovereigns of the 4 Divine Palaces were overjoyed. The examination of Yuanlu's sect had come to an end. Many of the onlookers slowly dispersed. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing and the others followed the black-clothed middle-aged man from Southern Divine Palace back to their residence. They were going to return to Southern Divine Palace. Southern Divine Palace would then send out a flying ship to send them back to their continents. It was worth mentioning that the black-clothed middle-aged man and the other experts from Southern Divine Palace treated Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing and Long Chen very well. They seemed to respect them. It was not difficult for the crowd to understand that Lu Ming and the others were now disciples of Yuanlu's sect. Their identities were completely different from before. The next day, the crowd returned to Southern Divine Palace. When Southern Divine Palace found out that Lu Ming had obtained first place and that Lu Ming was from Divine Wilderness Continent, it naturally caused a wave of admiration and envy. Lu Ming, Long Chen, and Xian Yinqing stayed at General Peak for the time being. Underworld Child, Monk Wuliang and Moonless Bodhisattva, who had not been selected, also stayed at General Peak. They were waiting for the Southern Divine Palace to arrange a cross-sea flying ship to send them back. The flying ship was not something that could be arranged in a short period of time. They needed to wait for 2 days. Time passed quickly and night fell. Young Master Lu Ming, is Miss Nianqing here? When the sky darkened, a voice suddenly sounded outside General Peak. Lu Ming, who was in the midst of cultivation, ended his cultivation and walked out of the room. He saw Xian Yinqing walking out of the room as well. The 2 of them glanced at each other, feeling a little surprised. They wondered who was looking for them. After the 2 of them walked out of the courtyard, they saw a kind-looking elder standing in the void. This old man is Jifu. Greetings to young Master Lu Ming and Miss Nianqing. When he saw Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing, the old man hurriedly bowed. Senior, there's no need to be so polite. May I know why Senior is looking for the 2 of us? Lu Ming cupped his fists and asked. My young mistress asked me to come. She said that she knows the 2 of you and will be bidding farewell in a few days. She wants to treat the 2 of you to a banquet. The old man said. May I know who your young mistress is? Lu Ming asked curiously. My young mistress is Ji Hongqian. The old man smiled. So it's Miss Ji Hongqian. Lu Ming suddenly understood. It seems that a beauty is thinking about you. On the side, Xian Yinqing pouted and muttered in Lu Ming's ear. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and sent a voice transmission to Xian Yinqing. Didn't she invite you too? I think I'm basking in your glory. Xian Yinqing continued to pout. Then forget it. I'm not going. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Xian Yinqing rather helplessly. Of course I'm going. Do I look like a petty person? Xian Yinqing rolled her eyes at Lu Ming and said, Senior, please lead the way. This. Lu Ming could only sigh. He really could not keep up with a girl's brain circuit. Young Master Lu Ming, Miss Nianqing, please follow me. The old man was overjoyed and turned to lead the way. Chapter 1271. The old man led Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing towards the north. After flying for a while, the terrain became more remote. Senior, does Miss Ji Hongshan live here? Lu Ming asked with a suspicious look in his eyes. Miss Ji has a courtyard here. The environment is elegant and quiet. She usually likes to invite guests here. The old man explained with a kind expression. Oh. Lu Ming nodded and continued to fly forward with the old man. Lu Ming, I feel that something is wrong. Xian Yanqing transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Yes, let's keep looking. Lu Ming nodded. After flying for a while, the terrain became more remote. Senior, please wait for a moment. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly spoke. The old man stopped and turned around. Young Master Lu, what's the matter? We're almost there. You weren't sent by Ji Hongshan, were you? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he suddenly spoke. The old man's expression suddenly changed. He revealed a forced smile and said, Young Master Lu, are you mistaken? I was indeed sent by Miss Ji. How dare you lie to me? Miss Ji Hongshan just transmitted her voice to me. She said that she was looking for me at General Peak, but she couldn't find me. If you were sent by her, why would you look for me personally? Lu Ming's voice turned cold. His words made the old man's expression change drastically and become extremely gloomy. Swoosh. He suddenly struck his palm towards Lu Ming's heart. A violent pressure surged towards Lu Ming like a storm. A perfected spiritual god. This old man's cultivation was at the perfected spiritual god realm. His sudden attack was terrifying. However, Lu Ming was already prepared. The dragon power in his body erupted as he also struck out with his palm. Bang! The two palms collided. The old man's body seemed to have been struck by lightning. One of his arms directly exploded into pieces. He frantically retreated and spat out blood. Who are you? Who sent you? Lu Ming's gaze was extremely gloomy and cold. Murderous intent burst out. Lu Ming, you're lucky. The old man said with a cold face. I'm not lucky. Ji Hongshan didn't look for me at all. I was just talking nonsense. Lu Ming said indifferently. When he said that Ji Hongshan went to look for him, he didn't. He just wanted to trick the old man. He didn't expect that the old man had ulterior motives. You. The elder was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. His expression was extremely ugly. He had lived for thousands of years. He did not expect to be fooled by a young man like Lu Ming. Tell me who sent you here. I'll give you a quick death. Lu Ming's Wuxia's eyes. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, wisps of smoke-like aura rose from all directions. They were incomparably terrifying and powerful. There was a total of 6 of them, and each of them carried an aura that was significantly stronger than the old man before him. Supreme Martial Artists, 6 Supreme Martial Artists. Rip. The space cracked open. 6 figures stepped out from the crack and stood around Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, blocking their way out. The 6 figures were wrapped in black robes. Their faces and figures were hidden in the black robes. You really think highly of me? You sent 6 Supremes. Lu Ming sneered. He was guessing in his heart who had such great power. This was the South God Palace. Only a powerful force like the South God Palace could send 6 Supremes to kill him. Was it the Mu clan or the Wang clan? Kill? Kill. The 6 Supremes didn't waste any time. They attacked directly. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. At the same time, 6 terrifying attacks fell on the 2 of them. Sky Demon Force Field. Xian Yanqing pressed her hands together. A terrifying force field spread out in all directions with her as the center. As soon as the 6 Supremes entered the Sky Demon Force Field, their bodies froze and their faces changed. With Xian Yanqing's current combat strength, she was able to affect the Supremes. Kill. Lu Ming bellowed. His third bloodline emerged, making him even more powerful. He took a step in the void and instantly approached a supreme being. Boom. Lu Ming threw out a punch. The other party threw out a palm at the same time. There was a loud boom. Lu Ming didn't move, but the other party's body shook violently. He flew back like a cannonball and spat out a mouthful of blood. This scene caused everyone's hearts to tremble wildly. Lu Ming's combat strength was too shocking. He injured a Supremes with a single move. Was this the strength of the number 1 in this assessment? Was this the strength of the number 1 genius in the Godly Ruins continent? Activate your bloodline. Kill him with all your might. One of the Supremes said. A bloodline floated above his head and he performed bloodline fusion. The other 5 supremes also performed bloodline fusion. Be destroyed. Xian Yanqing also performed bloodline fusion and turned into a beautiful sky demon. The sky demon force field was even more terrifying. At the same time, the force field was filled with a powerful destructive force. It made it difficult for the 6 supremes to move. A dragon's roar was heard. Lu Ming turned into 9 dragons and pounced on the 6 supremes. Bam! With just one move, one of the supremes was beaten until he spat out a mouthful of blood and was forced to retreat. If the other supremes hadn't come to his rescue in time, Lu Ming would have taken the opportunity to kill the supremes. In the sky, a man in a black robe stood in the void and looked at the battle below. Lu Ming was familiar with one of the young men. It was young Master Lin of the Celestial Sect. At this moment, young Master Lin looked ferocious and murderous as he looked at the battle below. This kid is really talented. He's considered good even in the Yuan continent. Unfortunately, if he doesn't join the Celestial Sect, he can only be killed. Beside young Master Lin was a middle-aged man. He was one of the 2 middle-aged men of the Celestial Sect. I've already investigated. My son Muju was killed by this kid. He must die. Beside the middle-aged man of the Celestial Sect, there were 2 other black-robed men. One of them said coldly. At this moment, the battle below was even more intense. The 6 supremes cooperated well. However, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing cooperated and their combat strength was equally shocking. Especially Lu Ming, who was invincible. But above the 9 dragons, a lightning cauldron appeared. It was as big as a mountain and crashed towards one of the supremes. Bam! That supreme spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was charred and he almost exploded. The 9 dragons roared and a devouring force burst out, shrouding the opponent. Then a claw reached out and grabbed at the opponent. "No, save me." The supreme screamed in fear. The other supremes wanted to help, but Lu Ming controlled the lightning cauldron. Thousands of lightning bolts spread out and blocked the supremes. Puchi. The 9 dragons' dragon claw clawed into the dantian of the primordial being. The terrifying power shattered the body of the primordial being, and grabbed the primordial being's spiritual spirit. The spiritual deity had the appearance of an old man. His face was filled with endless fear. "Spare me," he wanted to beg for mercy, but the dragon claw squeezed and the spiritual deity exploded. A supremes was killed by Lu Ming. Chapter 1272. Lu Ming killed a supreme being with lightning speed, which made the other 5 supreme beings' faces change drastically. They were almost scared to death as they retreated frantically. In the sky, the burly man from the Heavenly Divinity Sect, young Master Lin, and the others' faces turned gloomy. Especially the burly man from the Heavenly Divinity Sect, his eyes were burning with passion. "This lightning cauldron is amazing. It's beyond the category of a spiritual weapon. Could it be a holy weapon?" The burly man from the Heavenly Divinity Sect muttered to himself and roared in his heart, My luck is too good. I didn't expect a holy weapon to exist in such a remote place like the Godly Ruins continent. I must get it." Below, Lu Ming didn't chase after them. Instead, he came to Xian Yanqing's side and said, "Shao Qing, let's leave this place quickly." This matter wasn't simple. 6 supreme beings were sent to kill him at once. The force behind this must be extremely powerful. There might even be an Emperor Realm expert. Right now the best thing to do was to leave. Xian Yanqing nodded and was about to leave with Lu Ming. In the sky, the Mu family's patriarch said coldly, "Mu Yi, make a move and keep them here." "Yes." Beside the Mu family's patriarch, a figure wrapped in a black robe bowed and accepted the order. Then he took a step forward. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were about to return to where they came from. Suddenly, an extremely terrifying aura burst out. A terrifying pressure pressed down on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. An Emperor Realm expert. Lu Ming's face changed drastically as he exclaimed. Sure enough, there was an Emperor Realm expert behind this matter. When the Supreme Beings were defeated, an Emperor Realm expert appeared. A black-robed figure appeared in the sky. His appearance couldn't be seen clearly. He stretched out a withered claw and grabbed at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Suddenly, an incomparably huge claw as big as a mountain grabbed at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. The terrifying pressure made Lu Ming feel a little suffocated even though he was far away from it. A ruler was too terrifying. Although Supreme Beings were known as half-step rulers, their combat prowess was far inferior to a real ruler. The withered claws covered the sky and completely enveloped Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. There was no way for them to escape. Shaoqing, enter the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming roared. At the same time, he crazily poured his quintessence into the lightning furnace. The lightning furnace's aura became even stronger. The lightning cauldron turned into the size of the withered claw and slammed into it. No, I won't enter the mountain and river diagram. Xian Yinqing stubbornly shook her head. The space between her eyebrows glowed as a black bead appeared. A terrifying devil chi rippled out from the bead. The devil chi gathered and formed a beam of devil chi that shot towards the withered claw. Boom. Boom. Two heaven-shaking explosions rang out, and a terrifying force swept out for tens of thousands of miles, startling countless people. What's going on? What happened? Someone is fighting a great battle. Who is fighting such a terrifying battle? It seems to be an emperor. There's a battle between emperors. A burst of noise rang out in the night sky, but no one dared to go closer to watch. What a joke. If one was too close to a battle between emperors, one would only die if one was accidentally involved. Clang. The lightning cauldron shook violently and was sent flying back to Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming's body trembled violently as he retreated a few thousand meters and spat out a mouthful of blood. Xian Yinqing was the same. Her devil chi beam was destroyed and she retreated a few thousand meters. However, the black bead between her eyebrows released a layer of light that protected Xian Yinqing. Therefore, Xian Yinqing was slightly better than Lu Ming. Her delicate body trembled, but she did not vomit blood. This made Lu Ming heave a sigh of relief. Xian Yinqing's black bead was obtained in the ruins of God. Its mysteries were beyond imagination. Although the two of them were repelled, they had successfully blocked the withered claw. Amazing, amazing. This scene made the middle-aged man of the celestial god sect sigh. The two of them were just juniors, but they were able to block the attack of an emperor. This was absolutely terrifying. This made the Mu family's patriarch's face gloomy and ugly. He felt that he had lost face. Mu Yi, go all out. Don't show mercy. It's fine as long as you don't kill them. The Mu family's patriarch transmitted his voice to Mu Yi. Kill. Upon receiving the order, Mu Yi roared, and his aura became even more violent. He stretched out his withered hands and grabbed two claws in a row. Two huge claws condensed and grabbed at Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Each of the two claws was stronger than the previous one. What was shocking was that the two claws merged into one halfway and turned into a claw that emitted a withered aura. It grabbed at Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. The power of this claw was even more shocking. Dandan. Bubble? With a thought, Dandan and Bubble appeared on Lu Ming's shoulder. Lu Ming, I knew you would come for me. I have a hard life. Dandan flew out from Lu Ming's shoulder while cursing. Its body began to grow crazily and its aura rose sharply. Mouth, world. Dandan roared and opened its mouth. A mass of chaotic light flew out from its mouth. There seemed to be a world in the light. A world flew towards the withered giant claw. At the same time, a huge transparent bubble appeared from Bubble's mouth and suddenly appeared around the withered claw. As soon as the transparent bubble appeared, the withered claw was fixed in the air, unable to move. This is the space and time concept? Mu Yi let out a cry of disbelief and then roared, "Break for me!" The withered claw emitted light and the transparent bubble began to vibrate. Chirp chirp, Bubble cried. Its snow-white hair emitted a milky white light as if it was using all its strength. At this time, Dandan's attack had also arrived. It directly passed through the transparent bubble and blasted on the withered claw. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing's attacks also arrived one after another. Boom. The shriveled claw crumbled under the continuous attacks. Mu Ye's body trembled and actually took a step back, stepping on the void with a rumbling sound. How is this possible? What are those two things? Young Master Lin and the Mu family had cried out. The power exerted by Dandan and Bubble was too terrifying. The middle-aged man from the celestial sect also suddenly widened his eyes and stared at Dandan and Bubble. He whispered in disbelief, This seems to be very similar to two of the legendary top 10 battle beasts. His heart began to beat rapidly as his eyes burned with passion. At the same time, his eyes were filled with disbelief. Didn't the legends say that the top 10 battle beasts had all fallen? How could they reappear in the world? Could it be that they had the bloodline of the top 10 battle beasts and were not purebred? Even so, they were still priceless. Continue. Below, Lu Ming shouted and controlled the thunder cauldron. The sky was filled with thunder and lightning as it attacked Mu Yi. Now Lu Ming was going to fight back. So what if he was an emperor? Whoosh. The bead between Xian Yinqing's eyebrows shot out a demonic light. The demonic light turned into a battle sword and slashed out. Chapter 1273. A transparent bubble abruptly appeared beside Mu Yi without any warning and enveloped him. This transparent bubble contained the concepts of time and space. It was extremely mysterious. The combination of the two concepts came without any warning. It was simply unavoidable. By the time Mu Yi reacted, it was already too late. The concept of space was still fine, but the concept of time was too mysterious. The bubble was still small and could not fully display the mysteries of time. It could only use methods like time freeze to imprison the enemy. If the enemy's cultivation was too strong, they could also break through it. It was said that when the concept of time reached a high level, it could turn back time. In an instant, it could make a peerless expert return to his childhood, to the era before cultivation, and be at your mercy. Or, it could accelerate time and make a peerless expert instantly become old and close to the end of his lifespan. At that point, it was hard to imagine how terrifying its power would be. Mu Yi was enveloped by the transparent bubble, and his figure froze in place. Break, break! Mu Yi roared. His cultivation base as a ruler erupted. His true essence boiled like a raging flame. The transparent bubble shook violently as if it would burst at any time. Chirp, chirp, the bubble chirped. Its two small claws continuously clawed at the void. Suddenly, a shocking scene appeared. The surrounding void shattered like glass and turned into pieces of crystal. Then, several spatial blades were condensed and slashed toward Mu Yi. At the same time, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Dandan's attacks also arrived. The moment the transparent bubble was shattered by Mu Yi, four terrifying attacks landed on Mu Yi at the same time. At the critical moment, Mu Yi activated his domain to cover his whole body. At the same time, he circulated his true essence to form a true essence armor on his body. Boom. The first attack was Dandan's. Ever since Dandan swallowed a myriad spirit crystal last time, it had been recovering rapidly. Its strength had improved by leaps and bounds, and it was getting stronger and stronger. The mouth world was Dandan's innate ability. It was like a real world that enveloped Mu Yi. The power of the world was constantly erasing Mu Ye's domain power and true essence power. Whoosh. The second attack was Xian Yanqing's demonic light. The demonic light was like a sword that could destroy everything. Combined with Dandan's world force, it shook Mu Ye's domain, causing it to shake violently. Kacha. In the end, there was a cracking sound as if glass had broken. In the next moment, Lu Ming's lightning cauldron arrived. Thousands of lightning bolts completely submerged Mu Yi. The endless lightning energy was like poisonous snakes that drilled into Mu Yi. With a loud bang, Mu Ye's domain power was completely shattered. The attacks of the three continued to bombard Mu Ye's quintessential energy armor. But at this time, Bubble's space blade arrived, breaking through Mu Ye's true essence armor and blasting towards his body. Bang, 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 bang. Each of the four attacks caused Mu Ye's body to tremble violently. He was forced to retreat again and again. In the end, he even spat out a mouthful of blood. The sovereign was injured. And sovereign was actually injured by Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and two small pets. If this news were to spread, no one would believe it and think it was a joke. But now it really happened. Is this the sovereign's spiritual body? It's really powerful. Lu Ming frowned. He was somewhat dissatisfied with such a result. Not only had the sovereign comprehended the power of a domain, but his body had also turned into a spiritual body. The spiritual body, whether it was in terms of attack, defense, or vitality, was terrifyingly high. It had completely surpassed the mortal body and reached another realm. The attacks of the four people broke through Mu Ye's domain and quintessential energy armor, directly attacking Mu Ye's body. However, they only managed to push him back and slightly injure him. Lu Ming was somewhat dissatisfied, but Mu Yi was about to go crazy. He was a dignified sovereign. Not only could he not take down a few juniors, but he was also repelled and even injured by them. This was a great humiliation. If word got out, he would become a laughingstock among the sovereigns. Moreover, the patriarch of the Mu family and the powerhouses of the heavenly god sect were watching from the sky. Kill? At this moment, his killing intent was incomparably cold. He decided to no longer care about the lives of Lu Ming and the others. He wanted to take them down. However, in the next moment, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared and enveloped him, causing him to freeze in the air. Then, another four attacks came crashing down on his face. Boom, 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 boom. With a series of explosions, Mu Ye's body shook violently again. He was repelled and spat out another mouthful of blood. He was injured again. Just like last time, although it was only a minor injury, it made him go crazy. Ah! He roared crazily in his heart, and his eyes were red. Aggrieved, really aggrieved. He was a dignified emperor and was very powerful. However, when faced with Lu Ming and the rest, he could not even retaliate. That transparent bubble was silent and there were no signs at all. Just as he was about to retaliate, it suddenly appeared. He was so aggrieved that he wanted to vomit blood. Then he was enveloped by another transparent bubble. He simply wanted to roar to the sky. How could they play like this? What a piece of trash. I have to do it myself. In the sky, the patriarch of the Mu family looked terrible. He snorted coldly and stepped out. Rumble. A giant foot suddenly appeared in the sky and stomped down on Lu Ming and the others. Oh no! Lu Ming's face became very ugly. The power contained in this giant foot was too shocking and terrifying. It made Lu Ming feel that he couldn't resist it. Lu Ming had felt this feeling from the black-robed middle-aged man of the Southern Divine Palace. This was the aura of a LV3 Martial Emperor expert. There was a huge gap between each LV3 Martial Emperor. Mu Yi was only a LV1 Martial Emperor. The gap between him and a LV3 Martial Emperor was too big. It's over, it's over. I'm finished. Lu Ming, who did you offend? Dandan wailed. Xian Yinqing's face was also very ugly. In the face of a LV3 Martial Emperor, they didn't even have the strength to fight back. The bubble's space-time imprisonment was useless against such an expert. The gap was too big. Chirp chirp. At this time the bubble cried and its chubby body emitted a dazzling light. It waved its claws and a passage suddenly appeared in the void. A passage full of time and space intent, space-time passage. Chirp chirp. Bubbles shouted and took the lead to rush in. Let's go. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Ming pulled Xian Yinqing and rushed into the space-time passage. As soon as they entered the passage, Lu Ming felt that the surrounding environment was changing rapidly. In a flash the stars moved. The surrounding environment was changing, and they were heading towards the ruins of God. Bang. Chapter 1274. The Mu family head's face turned cold as he looked into the distance and whispered, "The ruins of God." Just. At this moment, the middle-aged man from the heavenly divine sect spoke. He took a step forward and the space in front of him split open automatically. He took young Master Lin into the space crack and disappeared. The Mu family head and Mu Yi also tore the space apart and chased after Lu Ming and the others. In a flash, the space above the ruins of God cracked open. The middle-aged man from the heavenly divine sect, the Mu family head and the others appeared. They escaped into the ruins of God. The Mu family head said with a solemn expression. Why aren't you chasing? The middle-aged man from the heavenly divine sect asked. This place is the ruins of God. It's very dangerous. Even emperors have the risk of dying if they enter. The Mu family head said. Even emperors are in danger? I think you're exaggerating. I just used my spiritual consciousness to scan carefully. This place is just a ruin. There are no living creatures. How can it be dangerous? The middle-aged man from the heavenly divine sect smiled faintly. He had enough confidence. He didn't believe that there would be any place in the ruins of God that could threaten him. But the Mu family head and Mu Yi were hesitant. The legends of the ruins of God made them very wary. Emperors are actually afraid of this and that. How can they achieve great things? Fine, if you don't go, I'll go myself. The middle-aged man from the heavenly divine sect said lightly with a slight disdain in his voice. Not to mention that he didn't believe that this place would bring him any danger. Even if there was a little danger, he still had to try. Lu Ming's thunder cauldron was suspected to be a sacred weapon, which made him drool. Needless to say, Dandan and Bubbles might have the bloodlines of the top 10 battle beast. This made him even more tempted. If he could take them and train them well, they would be a great help in the future. He was determined to get all of this. The middle-aged man from the heavenly divine sect stepped out and headed into the ruins of God. Young Master Lin followed closely behind. The Mu family head and Mu Yi looked at each other with uncertain eyes. In the end, they gritted their teeth and followed the middle-aged man into the ruins of God. It wasn't easy for them to curry favor with the heavenly divine sect. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and they didn't want to miss it. They quickly passed the outer area of the ruins of God and entered the inner area. They passed through the inner region and appeared outside the core region. The middle-aged man from the celestial god sect did not hesitate at all. He stepped into the core area with the Mu family head and the others following behind him. There were some incomplete formations in the core area. Some of them were quite powerful, but they did not pose any threat to a third-layer martial dominator realm expert. You're scared out of your wits just by these broken formations? The middle-aged man from the Heavenly Divinity sect smiled. The Mu family's patriarch didn't make a sound. He was still on guard. He had never entered the core of the divine ruins before. He only knew that this place was very dangerous. Even a ruler would die if he entered. As for the specific dangers, he did not know. Soon they passed through a large area and arrived in front of an intact palace. There's actually an intact palace here? The Mu family's patriarch revealed a puzzled look. Lu Ming and the others are in this palace. They won't be able to escape. The middle-aged man from the Heavenly Divinity sect laughed casually. The Mu family's patriarch and Mu Yi nodded. Both of them carefully sensed the aura of Lu Ming's group in the hall. Other than Lu Ming's group, there were no other auras. I'll go and chase them out. Mu Yi took the initiative to ask. Previously he was injured by Lu Ming's group, which made him feel ashamed. Now he was eager to prove himself. After saying that, Mu Yi stepped out. The aura of a ruler spread out from his body. Do you think hiding in a broken palace is going to work? I'll destroy this broken palace and make you come out. Mu Yi said coldly. He pressed his claw against the void, and a withered claw as big as a mountain was formed. It grabbed at the palace, wanting to crush it. Whoosh. At this moment, a jet-black spear light pierced through the air from within the palace. In an instant, it smashed the withered claw into pieces. Whoosh. Then a second spear light appeared in the palace. Its target was Mu Yi. The speed of the spear light was unimaginably fast. It arrived in front of Mu Yi in a flash. Mu Yi did not even have time to react before his body was pierced by the spear light. A hole appeared in his dantian. What realm? What spiritual body? They were as fragile as tofu in front of the spear light. Mu Yi's eyes were wide open. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and disbelief. Slowly, the vitality in his eyes dissipated and completely disappeared. Mu Yi had fallen. How is this possible? Who is it? The master of the Mu family and the middle-aged man of the celestial sect were shocked. They shouted in disbelief. They clearly did not sense any vitality in the palace. How could an attack be launched? Moreover, it was so shocking. It killed an emperor in one move. Lu Ming. In the next moment, their eyes widened. They saw two figures walking out of the palace hand in hand. It was Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. It's you? Lu Ming looked at young Master Lin and the middle-aged man of the celestial sect. His face was gloomy. I didn't expect the celestial sect of Yuanlu to be so despicable. You're not my match, but you attacked me secretly. Hee, I'm glad I didn't join such a sect. Lu Ming sneered. His voice was full of mockery. Kid, what did you say? Young Master Lin scolded. His face was ugly. Lu Ming was obviously talking about him. How dare you? Since when did you have the right to comment on the celestial sect's actions? The middle-aged man of the celestial sect said in a deep voice. Hee. Lu Ming laughed in disdain. He did not bother to look at the two of them. He looked at the master of the Mu family and said, I want to know who you are. Why did you send someone to kill me? Evidently, the six great utmost exalted and the emperor realm expert from before were all sent by that person. You killed my son Muju. Do you think I should kill you? The master of the Mu family said in a deep voice. He took off his black hat and revealed a gloomy face. Mu family. It's the Mu family. Lu Ming muttered. He had guessed that it was either the Mu family or the Wang family. Since you want to kill me, bring it on. Lu Ming said calmly. The master of the Mu family and the middle-aged man of the celestial sect were shocked. They looked at the palace with fear. The spear radiance had killed a LV-1 martial royal realm martial artist. Its combat strength was no weaker than a LV-3 martial royal realm martial artist. Humph, who cares who he is? Since he doesn't dare to show himself, he can't be that strong. Let's attack together. Take down Lu Ming and leave quickly. The middle-aged man of the celestial sect said. All right. The master of the Mu family nodded. Chapter 1275. Almost at the same time the two of them attacked. Two terrifying auras bloomed in the core of the ruins of deity. The master of the Mu family was a genuine LV-3 martial royal realm expert. He was stronger than Xiao Wan and Di. He formed a giant hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. As for the burly man from the heavenly god sect, his aura was unfathomable. Lin Fan could only sense that he was much stronger than the master of the Mu family. He waved his hand and a giant bird appeared. It opened its mouth and bit at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were stunned. However, they remained calm and stood still at the door of the palace. Those who trespass in the spacetime spiritual palace will be killed. Suddenly, a cold voice came from the palace. The voice was cold and emotionless, without the slightest trace of emotion. Swoosh, swoosh. 2 spear radiances shot out from the palace. The black spear radiances with terrifying radiance collided with the attacks of the master of the Mu family and the burly man from the heavenly god sect. The 2 attacks were penetrated by the spear radiances. However, the 2 spear radiances disappeared. A dragon roar shook the heavens and earth. Bang, bang, bang. Following which, a massive creature slowly walked out from the palace. Every step it took caused the ground to tremble. When the Mu family's patriarch, young Master Lin, and the middle-aged man from the celestial god sect saw the giant creature walking out of the palace, their pupils shrank as they revealed shocked expressions. The behemoth that walked out of the palace was naturally the headless true dragon knight. Bubble had brought Lu Ming and the rest to the core of the ruins of deity through the spacetime tunnel. Lu Ming had the Chaos Origin token. The headless true dragon rider treated Lu Ming as one of its own. However, the master of the Mu family and the rest did not have the Chaos Origin token. Moreover, they attacked the palace. Naturally, they were attacked by the headless true dragon rider. The headless true dragon rider was formed after the death of a supreme expert. It was not a living creature. Therefore, the master of the Mu family and the burly man from the heavenly god sect could not sense it. "Kill without mercy," said the headless true dragon rider. It was unknown where the voice came from, but then a shocking dragon roar sounded out. The headless true dragon stretched out a dragon claw and grabbed towards the Mu family's clan leader. As the dragon claw swiped out, it rapidly grew in size. In the end, it covered the sky and the sun, enveloping the entire world. Under the dragon claw, space could not withstand a single blow and was reduced to a mess. Eternal clear sky. The Mu family's patriarch felt a fatal threat. He raised his head to the sky and roared. He punched out, and an ancient tree that looked like the legendary world god tree smashed towards the dragon claw. This attack was the strongest attack of the Mu clan's patriarch. It combined the power of the realm and the spiritual body, making it extremely powerful. Ordinary LV2 martial royal realm cultivators would be severely injured or even killed by this attack. But in the next moment, the Mu family's patriarch's pupils contracted sharply. Because when the dragon claw fell, the ancient tree that he struck out couldn't even hold up for a breath. It disintegrated into energy and dissipated, but the dragon claw didn't stop and continued to claw towards the Mu family's patriarch. This claw sealed the void. Even if the Mu family head wanted to escape, he could not do so. "Save me." The Mu family's patriarch was scared. He let out a loud roar. His spiritual body shone and the power of the realm spread out. He punched out crazily with both fists. But, under the dragon claw, everything was useless. It was futile. The Mu family's patriarch's attack and defense were like tofu under the dragon claw. They couldn't withstand a single blow. On the side, the burly man from the celestial god sect wanted to help. He launched an attack at the dragon claw, but he couldn't shake the dragon claw at all. "No!" The Mu family's patriarch roared in despair. In the next moment, the dragon claw covered his body and began to shrink. The Mu family's patriarch was caught in the dragon claw. "No, spare my life, spare my life," the Mu family's patriarch roared in horror. "Kill." The headless true dragon rider's voice was emotionless. As the dragon claw clenched, the Mu family's patriarch's body exploded with a bang. His body and soul were destroyed. Whoosh whoosh. The rider on the true dragon rider's neck actually emitted a powerful suction force, absorbing all of the Mu family's blood essence and energy. Lu Ming lamented in his heart. If he were to refine the sovereign's blood essence, he would definitely be able to upgrade the prison-suppressing steel bloodline to level 9 divine rank. At the same time, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The headless true dragon rider was too strong. That headless true dragon was definitely a pure-blooded true dragon. He didn't know what realm it had reached when it was alive, but it was definitely an invincible existence. It could still maintain such a powerful combat strength after so many years. "Damn it, let's go." The middle-aged man from the celestial god sect was terrified. The headless true dragon rider's strength was far beyond his expectations. Although his cultivation was much stronger than the Mu family's patriarch, facing the headless true dragon rider, he felt a sense of impending disaster. After the Mu family's patriarch was killed, he didn't hesitate to tear the space apart and escape with young Master Lin. The headless true dragon rider roared coldly again. Then it clawed out again. A black dragon claw covered the sky, grabbing towards the middle-aged man and young Master Lin. The terrifying power not only made the middle-aged man's face change, but also almost scared young Master Lin to death. Ah, run, run. Young Master Lin screamed like a madman. The dragon claw clawed down, sealing the space in all directions. The middle-aged man from the celestial god sect was in the same situation as the Mu family's patriarch. He couldn't break the space apart at all. The dragon claw didn't stop and continued to claw down. Swoosh. At this moment, the middle-aged man from the celestial god sect threw young Master Lin towards the dragon claw. He took out a jade token with a pained look on his face. The true yuan in his body crazily poured into the jade token. No, no, don't. You'll die a horrible death. Young Master Lin was thrown out. He was so scared that he peed his pants and screamed crazily. He struggled with all his might. However, with his cultivation he was as small as an ant under the dragon claw. He wasn't even worth mentioning. No, save me, Lu Ming, please let me go. Young Master Lin screamed incoherently. At this moment, his heart was filled with regret. This was all because he had taken a liking to Xian Yanqing back then and had a conflict with Lu Ming, which led to all of this. Later on, when he was defeated by Lu Ming in public, he harbored even more hatred in his heart. He bribed the middle-aged burly man of the celestial god sect with great benefits and instigated him to deal with Lu Ming. If it wasn't for all of this, he wouldn't have ended up in this state. He screamed, but in the end, the dragon claw pressed down and young Master Lin's body exploded. Under the terrifying force, he turned into dust. The dragon claw continued to claw towards the middle-aged man from the celestial god sect. At this moment, the jade token in the celestial god sect's hand emitted a dazzling light. Then a light sword appeared. It carried the celestial god sect's man and broke through the space, escaping rapidly. Bam! The dragon claw clawed down. One of its fingers swept towards the celestial god sect's man. Chapter 1276. The man from the heavenly god sect spat out mouthfuls of blood after being hit by the headless true dragon rider. The man from the heavenly god sect was horrified. Even with his cultivation he could not stop the headless true dragon rider. Terrified, he used the secret talisman to break open the space and run for his life. Swoosh. Although the headless true dragon rider did not have a head, it seemed to be able to see everything. It thrust the dragon spear in its hand forward and a brilliant spear glow pierced through the space and disappeared into the void. A cry of agony was heard from a distance away. It was the voice of the man from the heavenly god sect. Following this, the voice fell silent and completely disappeared. Come again, kill without mercy. The headless true dragon rider said coldly. It then turned around and left, disappearing from the palace. The space outside the ruins of the deity suddenly cracked open and the man from the heavenly god sect stepped out from it. At this moment he was in a sorry state. His body was covered in blood and his face was pale. Blood continued to flow out from his mouth. There was a bloody hole in his abdomen. A terrifying force was constantly eating away at his flesh. Even with his cultivation he could not heal it immediately. Too powerful. The man from the heavenly god sect mumbled. He stared into the depths of the ruins of the deity with fear in his eyes. His cultivation had surpassed the third-layer martial royal realm. However, when facing the headless true dragon rider, he did not have much room to resist. If he did not have a life-saving treasure on him and wanted to escape at the same time, he would have stayed in the ruins of the deity forever. Even so, he was still severely injured. It would take a few months for him to recover. How could there be such a dangerous place in the ruins of the deity? Damn it. Also, it's Lu Ming's fault. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been severely injured. I will send a message to the Southern God Palace and ask them to keep an eye on the ruins of the deity. Once that bastard Lu Ming appears, kill him without mercy. The man from the heavenly god sect's eyes flickered with a vicious light. He pondered for a moment before turning around and leaving the place. The core of the ruins of the deity. Lu Ming looked in the direction where the man from the heavenly god sect had left and said with a frown, "That guy is too powerful. He's not dead yet. I'm afraid he won't give up. The ruins of the deity is not a place for us. Let's leave immediately." Okay. Xian Yanqing also nodded without hesitation. The ruins of the deity sect was surrounded. Of the deity sect. Before the deity sect. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing immediately passed through the hall and exited the ruins of God from the opposite direction of the Southern Divine Palace. To Lu Ming there was not much of a threat in the ruins of God. Very soon, Lu Ming passed through the core of the ruins of God and rushed out of the ruins of God from another direction. Sects. Deity. Com's sect, S. After flying for tens of millions of miles, it finally stopped. It was obviously not feasible to return to the southern deity palace by flying across the sea. Once they returned, the man from the heavenly god sect might seize the opportunity to assassinate them. It was too dangerous. Lu Ming planned to cross the sea and return to the divine desolate continent by himself. If Lu Ming's cultivation was before he came to the deity continent, it would be too difficult for him to cross the vast sea and return to the divine desolate continent. He didn't know how much time it would take. But now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the 8th level of the spirit god realm. His battle strength could even suppress a supreme being. He could rely on his own strength to return to the divine desolate continent. Little Qing, stay in the mountain and river diagram for this period of time. Lu Ming said to Xian Yanqing. I'm okay. Be careful. Xian Yanqing said. Xian Yanqing also knew that Lu Ming could only travel at full speed if she stayed in the mountain and river diagram. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled slightly. Then a white light shot out from between his eyebrows and enveloped Xian Yanqing. In the next moment, Xian Yanqing's figure disappeared as she was taken into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming's figure flashed and turned into a stream of light, disappearing from the place. Soon, Lu Ming flew for hundreds of millions of miles and found a hidden place. Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram. Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree, cultivating wholeheartedly. Lu Ming came to another mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, piles of origin stones appeared in front of Lu Ming. That's right, Lu Ming was about to break through. Lu Ming currently had 5 types of intents. 4 of them were at the perfection of the 4th level. Only the earth intent was at the peak of the 4th level. With his current intent cultivation he could raise his cultivation to the peak of the 9th level of the spirit god realm. Lu Ming planned to spend some time to devour and refine origin stones to raise his cultivation to the peak of the 9th level of the spirit god realm. This way he would be much faster when traveling. The 9 dragons appeared and opened their mouths, swallowing a large pile of origin stones. There were a few million of them. He swallowed a few million origin stones in one gulp and started to refine them quickly. A large number of origin stones were constantly refined and turned into true essence. Lu Ming almost had no bottlenecks. His cultivation was rising crazily. After refining a few million origin stones, he swallowed another few million. Lu Ming's cultivation started to soar. Early 8th level of the spirit god realm, middle 8th level of the spirit god realm, late 8th level of the spirit god realm. 7 days later, Lu Ming broke through the barrier with a large number of origin stones and reached the 9th level of the spirit god realm. After reaching the 9th level of the spirit god realm, Lu Ming still didn't stop. He continued to devour and refine origin stones to raise his cultivation. Early 9th level of the spirit god realm, middle 9th level of the spirit god realm, late 9th level of the spirit god realm. After another 7 days, Lu Ming's cultivation reached the peak of the 9th level of the spirit god realm. In a short half a month, Lu Ming's cultivation had charged from the early 8th level of the spirit god realm to the peak of the 9th level of the spirit god realm. The leap was so great that it was shocking. Of course, this was also because Lu Ming's intent had reached the requirements long ago. Otherwise, intent would become a bottleneck and obstruct Lu Ming's breakthrough. As long as Lu Ming's intent broke through, he wouldn't have any bottlenecks. However, the amount of origin stones he consumed was also terrifying. In a short half a month, Lu Ming had devoured a total of 50 million origin stones. What kind of shocking amount was this? Huff, Lu Ming exhaled. He felt that the true essence in his body was about to overflow. It was unimaginably dense. When he exhaled, it formed a storm that swept into the distance. Lu Ming stood up and took a step forward. He charged out of the mountain-river diagram and appeared in the sky above a mountain range. Boom. True essence boiled on Lu Ming's body, forming a pillar of air that shot into the sky and blasted a huge hole in the sky. So strong. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Lu Ming's mouth. He felt that there was inexhaustible energy in his body. The true essence of a peak 9th level spirit god was too strong. It was unknown how much stronger it was than the true essence of an early 8th level spirit god realm. Now, Lu Ming was confident that when facing an ordinary prime, Lu Ming could crush them and even kill them without the help of the lightning cauldron. Of course, It was a different story for primes who had awakened a 9th level divine rank bloodline. Let's go back to the divine desolate continent now. Chapter 1277. Given Lu Ming's current cultivation, he could tear apart space and travel like a supreme being. After tearing space apart, Lu Ming stepped in and disappeared. Within the spatial rift, there were chaotic spatial storms. They were like countless terrifying sharp blades that constantly slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his true essence and covered his entire body to resist the spatial storms around him. Clang, clang, clang. The spatial storms slashed at Lu Ming's protective true essence and produced a clang. However, Lu Ming's true essence contained the 5-colored concept. The spatial storms couldn't break through Lu Ming's protective true essence at all. If a martial artist below the spiritual god realm entered this place, they would be crushed into pieces by the spatial storms in less than 2 moves. Even martial artists above the spiritual god realm wouldn't be able to last long. Only sovereigns could smoothly walk through the spatial storms. Lu Ming stepped out and walked through the spatial storms, moving forward quickly. This was a different space, so his speed was very fast. With a step, he had already traveled an unknown distance in the outside world. A moment later, the space trembled and Lu Ming reappeared in the outside world, above a lake. In just a moment, Lu Ming had crossed at least 100 million miles. However, the godly ruins continent was simply too vast. Hundreds of millions of miles were nothing to them. Lu Ming continued to tear space apart. After half a day, Lu Ming didn't know how much distance he had crossed. When Lu Ming appeared in the outside world again, he smelled the sea breeze. Looks like I've reached the seaside. I'll rest for a while before setting off. Lu Ming thought in his heart. Then he found a place and took out an origin stone to recover. A few hours later, Lu Ming's true essence had completely recovered. Then he flew forward. In front of him there was a large city. From afar it looked very majestic. Lu Ming planned to buy a sea map of the Divine Ruins continent in a big city. After all, the continents in the Divine Ruins continent were very far from each other. The area of the sea was far greater than the land, and the weather was very changeable on the sea. It was very easy to get lost, so one needed a sea map to find the Divine Wilderness continent. There are so many people in this city. Moreover, the ratio of experts is shockingly high. After flying into the city, Lu Ming discovered that the city was bustling with people coming and going. Experts could be seen walking on the streets from time to time. Some of them had extremely strong and powerful auras. There was also someone who was like an ordinary person without any aura. But with Lu Ming's current cultivation he could still sense it. Supreme martial artist. Some of them were actually supreme beings. On the street, Lu Ming actually bumped into a few supreme beings, which made Lu Ming extremely shocked. Even in the godly ruins continent, supremes were high and mighty experts. It was rare to see them. Now, just by casually walking around on the street he actually bumped into a few supremes. This was somewhat unbelievable. Something was wrong. Lu Ming felt that something was wrong. It was impossible for supreme beings to appear casually. Something must have happened here. Soon Lu Ming went up to a restaurant. There was often a lot of information to be gathered in a restaurant. Sure enough, not long after, Lu Ming heard an important piece of news. Some time ago, there was a shocking piece of news near the southern coast of the godly ruins continent. It was said that a heaven-defying secret technique, pure spirit body, was about to be born on the southern coast. If a martial artist wanted to break through to the martial emperor realm, they had to condense a spirit body. Every martial artist had awakened different bloodlines, so the spirit body they condensed would be different and its power would be different. A spirit body had already surpassed a mortal body. It was a world of difference compared to a mortal body. There was no comparison at all. A spirit body not only contained terrifying power, but also greatly increased one's combat strength. Moreover, the strength, defense, and recovery of a spirit body had reached an incredible level. It was not something a mortal body could compare to. Even if a ruler's hands and feet were cut off, they could quickly grow back. It was said that a peak ruler could recover even if only a small piece of flesh was left. They were simply immortal. However, it was too difficult to condense a spirit body. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Many supremes had comprehended the embryonic form of domains. In terms of domains, there were no big problems. However, the reason why they were stuck and some could not break through for the rest of their lives was that they could not condense a spirit body. If one could not condense a spirit body, one would not be a ruler and would never be able to break through to the martial emperor realm. Moreover, when condensing a spirit body, one would also face heavenly tribulations. The The difficulty would increase with each tribulation. It was said that this secret technique called pure spirit body was not a real spirit body. This was because a spirit body was transformed from a bloodline. It had some of the attributes and functions of a bloodline. However, a pure spirit body only had pure physical strength and did not have any attributes. It only allowed a martial artist's body to have part of the power of a spirit body. For example, strength, defense, recovery, and so on. Moreover, a pure spirit body did not have any attributes. It would not obstruct the cultivation of a real spirit body in the future. Successfully cultivating a pure spirit body was equivalent to having a solid foundation. In the future, if one wanted to cultivate a real spirit body, the difficulty would be greatly reduced. The secret technique was too shocking. 4 martial artists below rulers, the temptation was unimaginable. Therefore, when this news spread, it caused a huge commotion. Countless powerhouses rushed to the southern coast of the Divine Ruins continent. Even many supremes were tempted and rushed over. This was also the reason why Lu Ming saw so many powerhouses in this city. The secret technique pure spirit body was too shocking. As long as one succeeded in cultivating it, the difficulty of breaking through to the ruler realm in the future would be greatly reduced, and the success rate would be greatly increased. Even Lu Ming's eyes lit up when he heard this. There's actually such a profound secret technique in the world. If I succeed in cultivating it, I'll have another powerful method to deal with DE when I return to the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming thought to himself. When he returned to the Divine Wilderness continent, he would definitely face DE. Although Lu Ming's combat strength had greatly improved, it was still difficult for him to face a ruler, let alone a powerhouse like DE. He had to continue to increase his combat strength so that he would have a greater chance. Pure spirit body was undoubtedly a powerful secret technique that could close the distance between him and a ruler. If Lu Ming succeeded in cultivating it, the gap between his body and that of a ruler would not be too big. I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't care. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry to go back, so I'll stay here and observe. After making up his mind, Lu Ming found an inn nearby to stay and inquire about the news. The next day a piece of news spread out. There might be news about pure spirit body in the Red Devil Mountains thousands of kilometers away. As soon as the news spread out, countless people rushed to the Red Devil Mountains. Lu Ming followed the crowd and rushed toward the Red Devil Mountains. The Red Devil Mountains had a radius of thousands of kilometers and were boundless. It was filled with a red demonic chi, so it was called the Red Devil Mountains. As soon as the huge crowd rushed into the Red Devil Mountains, they were like gravel scattered in the sea, unable to stir up any waves. Chapter 1278. Wandering around aimlessly like this was not a solution at all. There was no way he could find the pure spirit body. I'd better wait outside for news. Wandering around like this is purely a waste of time. Thinking of this, Lu Ming did not continue to stay and flew out of the Red Demon Mountain. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When he passed by a large canyon, a few figures rushed out of the canyon and surrounded Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned slightly. These few people all had violent auras and were surrounded by demonic chi. They stared at Lu Ming with unfriendly eyes. Haha, another fat sheep. This is already the third one. One of the burly men laughed. Those people really thought that there was information about the pure spirit body here and ran here desperately. It's really convenient for us brothers. The more we kill, the more we can live freely for a few more years. A skinny old man sneered. Don't talk nonsense with him. Kid, it's your bad luck to bump into us. One of the burly men looked at Lu Ming coldly and walked towards Lu Ming step by step. It seems that not only do you want to rob, but you also want to kill. Lu Ming spoke. His voice was very calm, without a trace of panic. He had already seen through the cultivation of these people. The strongest burly man was only a perfected spirit god. Lu Ming did not take him seriously at all. That's right. If we don't kill you and you spread the news, not only will we not be able to continue, but we will also be surrounded. So you must die. The burly man revealed a ferocious smile. He took a step forward and appeared in front of Lu Ming. A pitch-black saber appeared in his hand, emitting a cold, murderous intent. He slashed at Lu Ming. But in the next moment, the burly man was stunned. The others were also stunned. This was because Lu Ming merely stretched out one palm and pinched the battle saber gently. Regardless of how the burly man tried, he could not pull out the battle saber. The battle saber was pinched by Lu Ming and was as steady as a rock. How is this possible? The burly man roared madly. His voice was filled with disbelief. Boom. The quintessence in Lu Ming's body burst out. A terrifying energy flowed from his fingers and blasted into the other party's saber. The saber violently vibrated, and the berserk power flowed through the saber into the burly man's body. The burly man's body violently shook, and he could no longer hold onto the saber. His body madly retreated and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Kill? Lu Ming suddenly shouted, and a terrifying killing intent burst out like a tide. He took a step forward, and his palms slashed out like a blade towards the burly man. That terrifying power caused the burly man's heart to tremble. Block it! The tall and sturdy man roared madly. He used bloodline fusion and erupted with his full strength, hoping to block Lu Ming's move. Bang! The moment they exchanged blows, the burly man's bloodline as well as his body was torn apart. Even the spirit divinity couldn't escape and was killed by Lu Ming in a single move. Ordinary perfection stage spirit god realm martial artists were as weak as babies in front of Lu Ming and couldn't withstand a single blow. How could this be? Run! When the remaining few people saw this scene, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Then they screamed in horror and fled in all directions. It's too late to run now. Lu Ming sneered and his figure flashed rapidly. Soon, a few miserable screams resounded in the mountain forest. The remaining few people were all killed by Lu Ming, and their storage rings were all in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he left this place. Not long after, Lu Ming left the Red Devil Mountain, and sat cross-legged on a mountain peak that wasn't very high, waiting for news. Those guys have been killing and robbing. I wonder if there's anything good? Since he had nothing to do, Lu Ming took out the storage rings of the few people he had just killed and casually counted them. These guys were indeed very rich. The total amount of origin stones was close to 50 million, and there were also various kinds of spirit weapons and spirit herbs. Obviously, these guys had robbed many people during this period of time, and they were filthy rich. Suddenly, a metal box caught Lu Ming's attention. Lu Ming opened the metal box and found a rolled-up picture inside. The picture was made of some unknown material. It was light in his hand and the texture was very soft. Lu Ming opened it and his eyes couldn't help but narrow. It seemed to be a map, but the drawing was very complicated. The lines crisscrossed and for a moment Lu Ming was a little dazzled. Map. Could it be related to the pure spirit body? Lu Ming's heart couldn't help but move, and then he smiled and shook his head. It couldn't be so coincidental that he could get the map of the pure spirit body after killing a group of bandits. I'll find some time to study it. Lu Ming smiled faintly and put away the map. He then meditated and adjusted his breath, waiting quietly. 3 days passed and many people came out of the Red Devil Mountain. In these few days, many experts had almost turned the entire Red Devil Mountain upside down, but there was no news of the pure spirit body. Damn, I've probably been tricked. If I find out who tricked me, I'll cut him into 8 pieces. Damn it, there's nothing here. What a waste of time. Some experts cursed and left the Red Devil Mountain. Lu Ming also left the Red Devil Mountain and returned to the city. When everyone returned to the city, they heard an important piece of news. It was said that someone had obtained a map to find the pure spirit body. Through the map, one could find the location of the pure spirit body. There were already many experts chasing after the person who had the map. And the direction was south, toward the sea. When the news came out, it caused a commotion. Many experts hurried out of the city and flew toward the south. Map? Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he couldn't help but think of the map he had obtained from the group of bandits. There can't be 2 maps, right? Lu Ming shook his head and also left the city heading toward the south. Everyone was as fast as lightning. They crossed a long distance and finally stopped at a swamp. Because there were many people around the periphery of the swamp. The person who obtained the map is a supreme being. Someone spread the news and most people's expressions changed. If a supreme being obtained the map, who could snatch it from him? Warriors below the supreme being level were simply courting death. No wonder so many people surrounded the periphery of the swamp and didn't dare to enter. I know which supreme being it is. It should be the 100 Poisons supreme being. He obtained the map and fled into the endless swamp. There are already supreme being experts in there. I heard that the son of the Southern Divine Palace's sea-suppressing general led many supreme beings in there. It's definitely going to be a big battle. Many people were discussing. This news made most of the warriors stop in their tracks and they didn't dare to enter. Obviously, the endless swamp would become a battlefield for supreme beings. If others entered, there was no hope of obtaining the map, and they might even lose their lives. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure rushed into the swamp and disappeared. Who is that? How dare he enter? Nonsense, that's a supreme being. Chapter 1279. At the same time that supreme exalts appeared from time to time, it caused everyone to be shocked and slightly excited. This time, countless supreme exalts would be drawn over. Look, who's that? He actually dares to go in? Suddenly, someone cried out. Everyone looked over and noticed a young man was walking through the air towards the swamp. This young man was naturally Lu Ming. It really is him. That kid really doesn't want to live anymore. He actually dares to charge in. How audacious. In my opinion, he isn't audacious and he's overestimating his ability. He's blinded by greed. A battle between supreme exalts is extremely dangerous. Once one is affected, then only death awaits. This kid will die a long time ago. Exactly. He's overestimating his ability. How old does he look? How formidable could his cultivation be? Lu Ming's flight towards the swamp caused a wave of discussion. Lu Ming heard these discussions clearly, but Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to pay attention to them. He flew forward by himself and vanished in the blink of an eye. But then again, it's rare to see so many supreme exalts fighting. Wouldn't it be a pity to miss it just like that? That's true. Could it be that you want to go in and watch? That's too dangerous. We'll hide in the distance and watch. If the situation isn't right, then we'll retreat right away. There shouldn't be any problems. Someone spoke and revealed an expression of desire. A battle between supreme exalts was rare. Especially when many supreme exalts were fighting, it was extremely beneficial to some 9th level Spirit God Realm cultivators and especially Perfection Stage Spirit God Realm cultivators. Perhaps watching supreme exalts utilize the embryonic form of domains would arouse inspiration and allow some Perfection Stage Spirit God Realm cultivators to comprehend the embryonic form of domains more quickly and step into the Exalt realm. These words caused many people to reveal expressions of desire. Let's go. It should be fine if we watch from afar. That kid from before probably had the same thought. Someone spoke and then he flew towards the swamp. Since there was a first, there was a second. After that, many people flew towards the swamp. Some 8th level, 9th level and Perfection Stage Spirit God Realm experts rushed towards the swamp. Of course, people with lower cultivations really didn't dare to enter the swamp because the gap between them was too great. If a battle were to occur, then they wouldn't even be able to flee. Lu Ming continued forward. All around him was a boundless swamp. However, along the way from time to time, he would see traces left behind by great battles. Lu Ming followed these traces and chased all the way. An hour later, several figures appeared in the void ahead. There were 3 of them. One was an old man, and the other was a middle-aged man. All of them had powerful auras. They were actually all Supreme Being level experts. However, these 3 people were standing around a young man, protecting him in the middle. It was obvious that this young man was their leader. Only at the 3rd level of the Spirit God Realm. With a sweep of his spiritual sense, Lu Ming discovered that this young man was only at the 3rd level of the Spirit God Realm. It could be said that his cultivation was very low, and Lu Ming didn't take him seriously at all. However, this young man's identity was obviously very unusual, and he had several supreme beings guarding him. The other party also saw Lu Ming. That young man glanced coldly at Lu Ming. "Humph, you overestimate yourself. You actually dared to chase me all the way here. You're really courting death." The young man snorted with a disdainful sneer on his face. Swoosh. At this moment, a figure flew over from afar. It was a white-haired old man, and he was also a Supreme Being level expert. The white-haired old man came to the young man's side and bowed. "Young master, we found out that 100 Poison Supremacy is hiding in the dark swamp ahead." He used the poisonous gas of the dark swamp to set up a poisonous gas formation. "Humph, does 100 Poison Supremacy think that he can stop us with a mere poisonous gas? How naive. Let's attack together and break open the poisonous gas formation and kill 100 Poison Supremacy." The young man gave the order and led a few 9 Heavens Supremes forward. They didn't even look at Lu Ming, completely ignoring Lu Ming. In their opinion, Lu Ming was just a person who came in to watch the show out of curiosity. He posed no threat to them and could be completely ignored. Soon, a dull rumbling sound came from ahead. Obviously, someone had attacked. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He stepped out and flew towards the source of the sound. At this moment, a large group of people appeared behind Lu Ming. They were all 8th layer, 9th layer, and even perfect stage spirit god experts. They were all here. There are fluctuations of a great battle ahead. It must be a supreme being. Let's move forward carefully and watch from afar. Someone suggested. Everyone nodded and headed towards the source of the sound. Soon Lu Ming arrived at his destination. In front of him was a dark swamp. Dense black poisonous gas floated above the swamp. It looked extremely terrifying. Within the black poisonous gas, there were inscriptions flickering. Various colorful poisonous gases spread out and combined with the black poisonous gas to display an even greater power. The young man was standing in the void. Beside him were two supreme beings guarding. In front of him, there were three supreme beings attacking the black mist continuously. The terrifying power caused the black mist to tumble, but it couldn't be broken in a short time. 100 Poison Supremacy's poisonous gas formation is quite powerful. You two attack together and break the formation. The young man ordered the two supreme beings beside him. Master, we can't do that. This place is too dangerous. Let's leave. If anything happens to you, we won't be able to explain it to the commander. One of the supreme beings shook his head. The godly ruins continent was too vast. The southern sacred palace ruled over a large area in the southern part of the godly ruins continent, but it was difficult for them to control everything. Therefore, the southern sacred palace would deploy a few commanders to lead the army and guard the various areas. The young man's father was the commander of the southern sacred palace guarding the coastal area. He had a high position and an unfathomable cultivation. There were many experts under his command. This time he had brought a total of 5 supreme beings for the pure spirit body. It was a huge investment. Who dares to touch me in this coastal area? Don't worry, go and help me break the poisonous gas formation of 100 Poison Supremacy. The young man ordered. His tone was filled with confidence. But the two supreme beings were still hesitating. Whoosh, whoosh. At that instant, the space rippled and 2 figures appeared not far away. The auras of the 2 figures were extremely strong, indicating that they were both supreme beings. The young man was overjoyed as he said, I'm the son of the ocean-suppressing great general, Hai Tian. 100 Poison Supremacy is hiding in the poisonous gas formation. If you help me break the formation, I'll reward you handsomely. The son of the ocean-suppressing great general? The faces of the 2 supreme beings changed slightly, revealing a hint of fear. But it was only a hint. One of them said, we can work together, but if there's a map of the pure spirit body later, we'll compete for it with our own strength. Are you trying to negotiate with me? Hai Tian's face turned cold. Of course, even though you're the son of the ocean-suppressing great general, we're also from the southern sacred palace. The ocean-suppressing great general won't be able to suppress us. One of the supreme beings said with a hollow laugh. They were both supreme beings with extraordinary backgrounds. Even though they were slightly intimidated by Hai Tian, they were not afraid of him. Chapter 1280. In this coastal area, his father was the overlord and not many people dared to not give him face. But this time, the pure spiritual body had attracted many experts, and some of them were from the southern god palace. They were not afraid of the sea-suppressing marshal. Hai Tian rolled his eyes and pondered for a while, then said, all right, you guys can attack together. After breaking the poison array, we will fight for the pure spiritual body's map with our own abilities. He had brought 5 supreme beings with him, and he was confident that he could suppress the crowd. Haha, count me in. Count me in. At this moment a few more voices sounded and a few figures appeared. Each of them had a terrifying aura, and they were all supreme beings. Lu Ming stood not far away, and 1,000 miles behind him, those perfected spiritual god, 9th level spiritual god, and 8th level spiritual god martial artists were watching from afar. So many supreme beings, I wonder how many supreme beings have been attracted this time. There are more than 10 in front of us, and there are definitely more. With so many supreme beings, 100 Poison Supremacy will definitely not be able to keep his map. Some people were talking among themselves and they looked ahead excitedly. Boom, boom, boom. The supreme beings that came later burst out, and their terrifying auras soared into the sky, stirring up a huge hole in the sky, and it was extremely terrifying. Bright light shone out and all kinds of terrifying attacks burst out, blasting towards the poison array. Rumble. Under the attacks of the supreme beings, the sky was shattered like tofu, and all kinds of attacks along with spatial storms fell towards the poison array. With so many supreme beings attacking together, they wanted to break the poison array with strong means. Sizzle. The poison gas of the poison array was extremely terrifying, and when it came in contact with those attacks, it made sizzling sounds as if it was corroding those attacks. However, although the poison array was strong, there were 8 supreme beings attacking together. The power of 8 supreme beings attacking together was too shocking, and it could destroy heaven and earth. Although the poison array was strong, it could not withstand such a powerful attack. Whoosh! The poison gas tumbled and it was annihilated by the terrifying attacks, turning into nothingness. The various colors of the poison gas in front of them slowly faded, and they were slowly annihilated. Then some inscriptions under the terrifying power crumbled one by one. As the inscriptions crumbled, the array collapsed even faster, and the poison gas dissipated even faster. The poison array was about to be broken. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure shrouded in black poison gas flew out from the poison gas formation and into the distance. 100 Poisons Prime. It's 100 Poisons Prime. Stop him. Hai Tian shouted. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With a flicker of their figures, the 8 Supremes executed their movement techniques and chased after 100 Poisons Supremacy. All sorts of attacks were launched at him. 100 Poisons Supremacy was helpless, and could only try his best to dodge. As a result, his speed was greatly reduced, and he was surrounded by 8 supremacies. Baidu, hand over the map of the pure spirit body. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape death today. Hai Tian shouted as he rushed over with the 2 supreme beings beside him. Haha, what a joke. Why should I give it to you? I paid a great price to obtain the map of the pure spirit body, so why should I give it to you? 100 Poisons Sovereign laughed maniacally. Humph, if you don't give it to me today you'll die. Hai Tian sneered. Humph, you're just a piece of trash. If you didn't rely on your powerful father, I could kill you with a single breath. 100 Poisons Supremacy glanced at Hai Tian in disdain. You're courting death. Attack, kill this man. Hai Tian's face flushed red as he roared. Hai Tian's talent was average, and he had only awakened an 8th grade High God Realm bloodline. He was far from the top geniuses, and he wasn't even qualified to participate in the Heavenly Divinity Sect's disciple selection. This was his sore point. He was proud and arrogant, and he hated it the most when people said that his talent was inferior to others. If they said that, they would die. 100 Poisons Supremacy dared to call him a piece of trash, which violated his taboo. The 3 supreme beings that obeyed Hai Tian's orders instantly attacked 100 Poisons Supremacy. 3 terrifying attacks enveloped 100 Poisons Supremacy. 100 Poisons Supremacy's face revealed a hint of ruthlessness as he chopped off one of his arms. As soon as the arm fell, it turned into a 7-colored poisonous gas that filled the area. Not good. The faces of the supreme beings turned green when they were hit by the poisonous gas. The other supreme beings also retreated. 100 Poisons Supremacy wanted to take this opportunity to break out of the encirclement. Attack, don't let him escape, attack. Hai Tian roared. The supreme beings that obeyed Hai Tian's orders ignored the poisonous gas and attacked 100 Poisons Supremacy with all their might. Meanwhile, the other supreme beings reacted and attacked too. Bang, bang, bang. A great explosion took place between the heavens and earth as the supreme beings exchanged blows. However, 100 Poisons Supremacy was alone, thus there was no way he could escape. In just a few moves, he was severely injured and vomited mouthfuls of blood. Here's the map of the pure spirit body. In the end, 100 Poisons Supremacy had no choice but to take off his storage ring and toss it to one of the supreme beings. This supreme being was not Hai Tian's subordinate. He was overjoyed when he saw the storage ring. He immediately grabbed it and backed away. Hand it over. You're asking for it? The other supreme beings roared as they ignored 100 Poisons Supremacy and charged toward the supreme being. 100 Poisons Supremacy backed away as his body was engulfed in poisonous gas, trying his best to heal his injuries. However, he did not leave immediately. It was obvious that he was unwilling to hand over the map, and was waiting for an opportunity. How dare you steal it from me? I'll kill whoever tries to steal it from me. Hai Tian let out a roar. The 8 supreme beings were engaged in an intense battle, causing terrifying gusts of wind to sweep in all directions. 100 Poisons Supremacy's storage ring was taken by one person, then another. No one was allowed to monopolize it, as the one who obtained it would be attacked from all sides. I would like to see what the map looks like. Lu Ming murmured as he stepped forward toward the battlefield of the supreme beings. That kid, what is he trying to do? Why is he walking forward? He's courting death. Is he trying to compete for the map too? What a joke, he's overestimating himself. In the distance, the spectators were startled at first before they began to laugh coldly. Hai Tian was slightly startled too before he wore a ferocious expression as he said, "Kid, you're courting death. Kill him." At the edge of Hai Tian, a supreme being nodded and waved his hand, unleashing a saber glow toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming glanced at Hai Tian calmly, before he suddenly accelerated and dodged the saber glow, charging toward the battlefield of the supreme beings. Die. On the battlefield, a supreme being who obeyed Hai Tian threw a punch at Lu Ming. "Piss off." Lu Ming grunted and threw a punch at his opponent. "Haha, this kid dares to exchange blows with a supreme being?" Someone sneered, but before he could finish he was stunned. Chapter 1281. Boom. The two fists collided. In this punch, Lu Ming unleashed the power of 9 dragons which contained 5 types of wills. The hell-suppressing heaven skill was terrifyingly powerful. When the two fists collided, the space directly exploded, and the surrounding space spread out in all directions like a spider web. A terrifying force shot out, and then a figure trembled, stepping on the void and retreating wildly, causing the space to tremble violently. To everyone's surprise, this figure was not Lu Ming, but the supreme martial artist, a burly supreme martial artist. And Lu Ming's figure did not move at all. Everyone was stunned, dumbfounded and somewhat in disbelief. Even the supreme beings who were fighting were stunned and stopped fighting. A young man who looked less than 30 years old actually repelled a supreme being with one punch. How was this possible? Who was this person? Damn it, kill. The supreme being who was repelled reacted and let out an angry roar. A supreme being, was actually repelled by a young man with one punch. He felt that he had lost a lot of face. At this time he no longer cared about snatching the map. He wanted to kill Lu Ming to restore his reputation. 2 pairs of gloves appeared on top of his head. This was his bloodline, a level 6 divine bloodline. The gloves were on his palms and he punched continuously. The power of his punches increased by several times. The fist force as heavy as a mountain drowned Lu Ming. Kill. True essence boiled and the power of 9 dragons made Lu Ming's strength soar. He punched continuously with both fists and exchanged blows with his opponent. Bang, bang, bang. After more than a dozen punches, Lu Ming had the upper hand and suppressed his opponent. In the distance, the martial artists who were watching the battle were dumbfounded, and they were completely speechless. Previously, they thought that Lu Ming dared to come here because he was overestimating himself and was courting death. Or perhaps, Lu Ming was just like them and wanted to watch from afar. But later, Lu Ming actually rushed to the battlefield. They thought that Lu Ming was courting death and was doomed. However, the result was far beyond their expectations. The battle prowess that Lu Ming displayed nearly blinded their eyes. Lu Ming was actually able to fight against a supreme being. Moreover, he was able to suppress a supreme being. This was simply a fantasy. Time to end this, Lu Ming muttered. Above his head, the 3rd bloodline appeared. A gush of energy gushed out from the 3rd bloodline and entered Lu Ming's body. After borrowing the power of the 3rd bloodline, Lu Ming's strength increased greatly. Boom. With one punch, the other party retreated continuously. With another punch, there was a cracking sound and the sound of bones breaking could be heard from the other party's fist. The bones in his hand had been broken by Lu Ming's punch. Whoosh. The 3rd bloodline turned into a battle sword, tearing through the void, hacking towards the other party. The other party cried out miserably, one of his arms severed by the blood sword. The other party retreated frantically, his face filled with fear. The rest of the 9 Heaven Supremes including Hai Tian were astounded. A supreme being was injured just like that. What kind of battle prowess was this? Give me the map. Lu Ming targeted one of the supreme beings and charged towards him. The 100 poisoned supreme being's storage ring fell into his hands. Seeing Lu Ming charging towards him, the supreme being's expression changed greatly, and he retreated rapidly. You can't escape. Lu Ming stepped out, charging towards the other party. Boom. Lu Ming's palm struck out, and a ferocious spatial crack appeared in the void. A chaotic spatial storm surged towards the other party. The supreme being tried his best to resist, but he was still forced back. Lu Ming's current strength was too strong, far surpassing the average supreme beings. Attack together, this person is too strong. The supreme being roared. Yes, attack together, all of you attack, kill this person first, then fight for the pure spirit body's map. Hai Tian also shouted. He looked at Lu Ming with eyes full of crazy jealousy and hatred. He was jealous of Lu Ming's talent. He looked younger than him, but his cultivation and battle prowess were so terrifying. He was so jealous that he wanted to go crazy. He wanted to destroy Lu Ming and make such a genius disappear from the world. Young master, on the edge of Hai Tian, the two supreme beings were still hesitating. Attack! I order you to attack and kill this person together. Hai Tian roared angrily. The two supreme beings had no choice but to attack Lu Ming together. As for the other supreme beings, they also attacked Lu Ming together. Lu Ming's battle prowess was too strong and they felt threatened. If Lu Ming got the pure spirit body's map, it would be difficult for them to get it. Therefore they planned to get rid of Lu Ming first. 10 supreme martial artists attacked at the same time, charging toward Lu Ming. Their power was extremely terrifying. A dragon roar shook the 9 heavens, and the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. Lu Ming performed bloodline fusion, turning into 9 dragons. The power of devouring erupted, enveloping all the supreme beings. Then the dragon claws continuously stepped out. Bang! Bang! 2 supreme beings were hit by the dragon claws, coughing up blood and retreating. Whoosh! The divine dragon swung its tail, and a supreme being subordinate of Hai Tian also vomited blood and was sent flying. Clang! The lightning cauldron appeared above the 9 dragons, and thousands of lightning filled the air, enveloping the remaining supreme beings. Boom! 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 A series of explosions sounded, and all the attacks of the supreme beings were blocked. Hiss! In the distance there was a series of gasps, and the cold air almost made their lungs explode. It was too shocking. 10 supreme beings joined forces to attack a young man, but in the end, not only were they blocked by the young man, some of them were even injured. How was this possible? He is Lu Ming of the Divine Wilderness Continent, the #1 genius of the Divine Ruins Continent. Suddenly a supreme being shouted. This supreme being had gone to watch the selection of the Yuanlu sect, and he recognized Lu Ming. What? He is Lu Ming? The most powerful genius of the younger generation in the Divine Ruins Continent? Didn't he return to the Divine Ruins Continent? Why is he still here? Gosh, it's him, no wonder he is so terrifying. The scene was in an uproar. By now, Lu Ming's name had already spread across the Divine Ruins Continent. Most of the people knew that the Divine Wilderness Continent had emerged as a new force in the selection of the Yuanlu sect's disciples. The most terrifying one was a young man called Lu Ming, who had defeated the other geniuses and won the first place. No one in the younger generation could defeat him. Even if he is the most powerful genius of the younger generation, his combat strength is terrifying enough. Someone exclaimed. It was too shocking to be able to remain unscathed under the attacks of 10 supreme beings. Damn it, it's him. Hai Tian gritted his teeth in hatred. Leave it to me, Jiu Long said indifferently. He twisted his body and charged towards the supreme being who was holding 100 Poison Sovereign's storage ring. That supreme being wanted to resist, but after being beaten up by Lu Ming, he no longer dared to resist and threw the storage ring to Lu Ming, who caught it. Lu Ming caught the storage ring and with a thought, a rolled-up map appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Chapter 1282. Because the feeling this map gave him was almost exactly the same as the map he had obtained from the bandit. The material, texture, and weight were all the same. Lu Ming opened the map and looked at it. Lu Ming was even more stunned. The content of the map was exactly the same as the one he had obtained. There were no changes. There are actually 2 maps. Strange. Lu Ming frowned. Generally speaking, there would only be one such precious map. How could there be 2? Could it be fake? Lu Ming guessed in his heart. Lu Ming, I am the son of the sea-suppressing marshal. I advise you to hand over the map to avoid causing trouble for yourself. Not far away, Hai Tian spoke as he stared coldly at Lu Ming. So what if Lu Ming's talent was strong? He was just a young man from the Divine Wilderness Continent. In the coastal area of the Divine Ruins Continent, he still had to listen to him obediently. Otherwise, as long as he sent out an emperor, he could easily kill Lu Ming. No matter how talented he was just an ordinary martial artist if he didn't grow up. The 5 supreme beings under Hai Tian surrounded Lu Ming and stared at him covetously. The other supreme beings also stared at the map in Lu Ming's hand with fiery eyes, wishing they could take it for themselves. There really was a map. It seemed that the matter of the pure spirit body was true. The temptation of a pure spirit body was too strong for them. Most of them had almost stopped at the supreme being realm for their entire lives. It was too difficult to take another step forward and break through to the emperor realm. But with a pure spirit body there was hope. As long as they cultivated a pure spiritual body, on the basis of a pure spiritual body, they might be able to condense a real spiritual body and become a ruler. The temptation of becoming an emperor who could live for 10 to 20,000 years and dominate the world was too strong. Knowing that Lu Ming was strong, they wouldn't give up so easily. Lu Ming's lips curled into an inexplicable smile. He looked at Hai Tian and said, "You want the map? Sure, here you go." With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming tossed the map to another paragon, not the one who took orders from Hai Tian. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lu Ming to hand over the map so easily. Looks like Lu Ming is still afraid of Hai Tian. Everyone had the same thought. Hai Tian sneered. He also thought that Lu Ming was afraid of him. So what if he's talented? If you don't have a backer, won't you still have to listen to me? Hai Tian sneered. Although he knew that Lu Ming had been accepted as a disciple by the Yuanlu's Dragon God Valley, he wasn't afraid since Lu Ming hadn't officially joined the Dragon God Valley yet. He actually didn't give me the map directly. When my big brother arrives, I'll definitely teach him a lesson. Hai Tian thought. Lu Ming threw out the map, causing another chaotic battle. As for Lu Ming, he transformed into his human form and took a step forward, suddenly appearing beside Hai Tian. Hai Tian's expression changed slightly as he scolded, "Lu Ming, what are you doing?" "Nothing. It's just that your face pisses me off. Moreover, you wanted to kill me before. I'm a very vengeful person," Lu Ming said with a faint smile. You dare?" Hai Tian's expression changed drastically. Slap. Lu Ming swung his hand and slapped Hai Tian's face. Hai Tian spun dozens of times, one side of his face was swollen. He was completely dumbfounded. Lu Ming dared to hit him? Didn't Lu Ming hand over the map because he was afraid of him? How dare he hit him now? Hai Tian felt that his brain couldn't process the situation. "Young master." A few supreme martial artists under Hai Tian's command roared angrily and pounced on Lu Ming. "Don't worry, I won't kill you." Lu Ming smiled and took a step forward. His figure disappeared in the blink of an eye. The reason why Lu Ming didn't kill Hai Tian wasn't because he was afraid of the forces behind him, but because he wanted to use them to decipher the map and find the pure spirit body. The map was very complicated. The more people there were, the higher the chance of deciphering it. After Lu Ming left, Hai Tian finally reacted. He covered one side of his face and screamed crazily, "Ah, damn it, kill him, Lu Ming, you must kill him." He screamed hysterically, but Lu Ming couldn't hear him anymore. He walked out of the swamp and soon came out of the endless swamp. That guy came out. As soon as Lu Ming came out of the swamp, many eyes looked at him. I knew he would come out. He must have seen the scene of the supreme martial artists fighting inside. It's too shocking, so he ran out in fear. Yes, that must be it. He's just a clown, why bother with him? Voices sounded one after another. Some of them were full of disdain. Lu Ming didn't bother to pay attention to them. He directly left and returned to the city. Not long after Lu Ming left, a group of people came out. They were the group of people who were watching the battle. How was it? How was the battle inside? Did the supreme martial artists fight? Is there any news of the pure spirit body? Many people began to ask. The map with the pure spirit body has appeared. A battle between the supreme martial artists. An expert at the perfected stage of the spirit god realm explained. When he mentioned that the young man from before was Lu Ming and that Lu Ming had unleashed his prowess and fought against the 10 supreme beings, there was complete silence. You mean? That young man is the most powerful young man, Lu Ming? And he fought against the 10 supreme martial artists, seized the map, and then took the initiative to hand it over in the end? Someone asked in disbelief. That's right. The previous person nodded. The people outside the swamp were dumbfounded. Some of their faces were flushed red from shame. Just now they were laughing at Lu Ming, saying that Lu Ming was scared. But in fact, Lu Ming was able to fight against the 10 supreme martial artists alone and seize the map from them. His combat strength was beyond imagination. Lu Ming ignored them just now because he didn't care about them. In Lu Ming's eyes, they were the real clowns. Thinking of this, their faces turned red. Not long after, Hai Tian and the others also appeared. In this battle, Hai Tian's side was stronger. He brought a total of 5 supreme martial artists with him, and one of them even awakened a 7th-level divine bloodline. He was stronger than ordinary supreme martial artists. The 5 of them joined forces and seized the map. After Hai Tian seized the map, he disappeared with the experts. Many people guessed that they were studying the map. Many experts secretly sent people to keep an eye on Hai Tian and the others because as long as Hai Tian and the others studied something, they would be able to find some clues. Lu Ming was also studying the map. Of course he called Dandan along. Dandan was an old antique who was proficient in all kinds of inscriptions. It was best to call Dandan along to study this kind of map. The two of them studied the map for 2 days. All the lines on this map converge at the end and lead to a certain place. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the nearby geographical location. Otherwise, I would be able to find the destination according to the corresponding geographical location. Dandan said slowly as he walked around the map with his claws behind his back. Oh, then I'll go by a few maps of the Godly Ruins continent. Lu Ming said. Sai, even if you compare it with the map, it won't be that easy to find. After all, the map's description won't be that detailed. Chapter 1283. Even so, Lu Ming still went to buy a few maps, including maps of the Godly Ruins continent and the ocean, and put them together to study. Just as Lu Ming and the others were studying, a black-robed old man sat cross-legged in a secret room in the city. The black-robed old man's face was full of wrinkles, and his face was ferocious. No, there are too few maps. They won't be able to study it in a short time. I don't have time to continue waiting, so I might as well release a large number of maps. With so many people, someone will definitely be able to find it. I must find the cultivation method of the pure spirit body. It's my only hope. A cold voice came out of the black-robed old man's mouth. Then, a large number of maps appeared in the black-robed old man's hand. He casually took out a map and opened it. It was exactly the same as the one Lu Ming had obtained, and it was all about the pure spirit body. There were not just 1 or 2 maps but many of them, and they were all duplicated by the black-robed old man. A day later, another map of the pure spirit body appeared, and it caused an intense competition. In the end, it was snatched away by a supreme being. But later, more and more maps of the pure spirit body appeared. In the beginning, the competition was still very intense, and supreme beings would make a move whenever a map appeared. But later, it seemed that all the supreme beings had a map, and only spirit god realm experts made a move. Later on, more and more maps appeared and there were a few hundred maps. Could the maps be fake? Such a situation made many people speculate. Perhaps it was true. Someone had obtained a map first, but he couldn't study it, so he threw out so many duplicated maps in order to borrow the strength of others to find the cultivation method of the pure spirit body. Then such words were thrown out and many people were skeptical. But no one would give up easily. After all, the pure spirit body was too tempting. Even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, no one would give up. Many people held the maps and studied them carefully. Later on, some people even gathered together and began to study. A few days later, someone indeed made some progress and flew towards the sea. The location indicated on the map should be overseas. Dandan also came to a conclusion. For a time, countless people gathered together and flew towards the sea. Whoosh! The sea breeze whistled and blew. When they arrived at the seaside, they saw the boundless sea. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One figure after another rode the wind and broke the waves, flying toward the sea. There were a few individuals whose auras were especially powerful, terrifying to the extreme. Those were supreme being level experts. Look, that's Hai Tian. The Sea Conqueror has sent even more experts. Someone looked up at the sky. Everyone saw that there were a total of 9 people at the edge of the sea. Each and every one of them had a terrifying and powerful aura. They were all supremes. However, this time Hai Tian wasn't in charge. Hai Tian was obediently following behind a man in his 40s with a respectful expression. That's Hai Tian's elder brother, Hai Yu. He's a terrifying existence. It's said that Hai Yu has awakened a level 9 divine bloodline. He's already over 40 years old and can step into the martial emperor realm at any time. His combat strength is terrifying. Hai Yu has also come out. With his combat strength, he can easily kill an ordinary supreme being. A few people were discussing among themselves. When Hai Yu was mentioned, they all felt great fear. A 9th grade divine bloodline sovereign. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. A 9th grade divine bloodline sovereign was absolutely terrifying. Such a person would definitely step into the martial emperor realm. His combat strength couldn't be measured by common sense. If Hai Yu wasn't over 30 years old, he could participate in the heavenly divinity sect's selection of disciples. Such a genius combat strength could be imagined after he became a supreme being. Even if Lu Ming were to face him now, he might not have the confidence to win. Hai Yu, Hai Tian, and the others flew toward the sea. Following that, more people flew toward the sea. Lu Ming blended into the crowd and flew together. After flying for a full day, they didn't know how far they had traveled. A small island appeared in front of them. Could it be on this small island? Many people's eyes lit up. No, this small island is only the first location. It's a guiding point, someone said. They found the answer based on the map and the position of the stars in the sky. This small island wasn't the final location. It pointed to the next location. Some people took out the map and studied it together. In the end, they found the right path and continued to fly toward the sea. A day later, they found the second island. Unfortunately, after studying it, it was still not the final destination. It was also a guiding point. If they found this island, they could find the next location. Everyone studied and calculated together. Then they continued to fly. Another day later, they arrived at the third island. This island was still not the final destination. However, when they arrived here, they encountered a problem. They found a ruin on this island. It was full of abandoned stone pillars. Some people guessed that this was the key to studying the map, but it seemed that something was missing. They couldn't figure out the final route. If something is really missing, these ruins should give us a hint. Dandan frowned and thought seriously. Everyone studied it for a day but found nothing. These ruins are somewhat similar to the stone plate passed down in my family. At that moment, an old man walked to the ruins and took out a stone plate. Buzz. The stone plate vibrated and emitted light. At the same time, the ruins also vibrated and emitted a dazzling light. The ruins and the stone plate resonated with each other. There's a reaction. Someone exclaimed. Look, some routes have appeared. Everyone saw that the stone plate and the ruins were resonating with each other. In the dazzling light, some lines were condensed. These lines seemed to be some routes. Everyone quickly combined it with the route on the map and deduced. Got it, I found the route. Someone shouted excitedly. In the end, everyone worked together and found the next route. They continued to fly toward the sea. Sure enough, I made the right choice. Relying on myself, I can only reach this far in the end. In the crowd, an old man in a black robe revealed an excited expression. Those maps were leaked by this old man. He had obtained the maps a long time ago. After decades of research, he could only find the third island. There was no clue beyond that. Therefore, he copied a large number of maps, hoping to borrow the strength of others to find the method of the pure spirit body. Sure enough, this method worked. In just a few days, the results were greater than his decades of research. Then they found the fourth island, then the fifth island. 10 days later, they found a total of 9 islands. These 9 islands seemed to have a mysterious connection. They had to find the previous one to find the next one. However, the 9th island seemed to be the final destination. Everyone studied and found that the 9th island was the last island. The next step would be the location of the pure spirit body. Chapter 1284. Everyone studied carefully and finally found that the final destination was at the bottom of the sea. In a secret place at the bottom of the sea. Plop, plop. Many experts jumped into the sea and headed in the direction of the pure spirit body according to the map. Lu Ming also jumped into the sea. This was the outer sea and the water was very deep. Everyone kept diving, 100 meters, 1,000 meters, and finally, they reached a depth of more than 100,000 meters. At this depth, the pressure of the seawater had reached a terrifying level. Even a high-grade spirit weapon would be crushed into a ball under such water pressure. The terrifying pressure constantly pressed on Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his Zhen Yuan to protect his body, and at the same time he circulated the concept of water. A mysterious aura circulated around his body, and the water automatically separated and couldn't get close to Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked relaxed, but the others weren't. A first-level spirit god martial artist's body trembled, and his face turned pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood and didn't dare to continue diving. Instead, he quickly swam upstream. At this point, ordinary low-level spirit god martial artists would have a hard time resisting and would be crushed to death by the huge pressure. Although they were unwilling, they could only leave because they hadn't reached the bottom yet. They had to continue diving and didn't know how deep it would be. The surroundings were pitch black and there wasn't the slightest bit of light. However, those who could reach this place were all experts with strong eyesight. They could still see tens of thousands of meters away. Whoosh. Everyone continued diving and occasionally checked the map. Soon they had reached a depth of more than 200,000 meters. The water pressure here was even more terrifying. Many people's Zhen Yuan protection creaked under the pressure, as if it would collapse at any time. At this point, Lu Ming found an underground mountain range. However, because the rocks here were under the terrifying water pressure all year round, their hardness was shocking. They were harder than many strange metals outside, and 100 times harder than ordinary steel. It's under that valley. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder and pointed at an underwater valley below. Looking from afar, it was pitch black as if it led to the abyss of hell. Lu Ming nodded and headed towards the valley. Obviously, the others had also noticed and were swimming towards the valley. The number of people who could reach this place was much smaller than before, but there were still about 1,000 people. 1,000 people, like 1,000 tiny fish, swam into the pitch-black valley. Whoosh! All of a sudden the seawater churned. From a pitch-black cave at the edge of the valley, a colossal creature suddenly pounced out. It opened its bloody mouth and tried to swallow the experts. The berserk aura was frightening. "You're courting death." Someone roared, and a sword chi slashed out at the huge monster. The attacker was a consummate spirit god expert. However, as they were in the deep sea, his strength was greatly suppressed. His sword chi slashed out and slashed at the mouth. The sharp teeth of the mouth bit the sword chi in half. Then a scarlet tongue rolled out and wrapped around the expert, pulling him into the mouth. Damn it! The expert in the consummate spirit god realm unleashed all kinds of terrifying attacks. However, they were more than 200,000 meters deep in the sea, and his strength was greatly suppressed. The monster that suddenly pounced out was only equivalent to a consummate spirit god. However, the monster's strength here was far above that of an ordinary consummate spirit god. The human expert in the consummate spirit god realm was no match for the monster at all. He was pulled into the mouth of the scarlet tongue and was bitten in half. Ah! The expert in the consummate spirit god realm let out a shrill scream. However, in the next moment the scream stopped abruptly. He was bitten into pieces by the monster and swallowed into its stomach. What kind of monster is that? At this moment, everyone saw the monster's appearance clearly. Its body was like a python, but it also looked like an eel. It was very long and its tail was still in a cave in the valley. Only the upper part of its tail was sticking out. Its body was covered in scales and its eyes were blood red. It was extremely ferocious. Its mouth was chewing and it seemed to be eating with relish. Its blood-red eyes stared at the others with greed. Whoosh! In the next moment, it pounced out again and opened its bloody mouth to bite the experts of the human race. "You're courting death." At this moment, a supreme being shouted coldly and stepped out. With a wave of his hand, the embryonic form of a domain spread out and enveloped the monster. Chi-chi. The monster's scales made sizzling sounds when it was enveloped by the embryonic form of the domain. Die. The supreme being stepped out and appeared on top of the monster's head. He punched out and bombarded the monster's head. Bang! With a boom, the monster roared and retreated. Its head caved in and blood flowed out, but it was not killed. So powerful. Many people's hearts trembled. This monster was too powerful. Judging from its aura, it was only at the consummate spirit god realm. If it was outside, the attack of a supreme being was enough to kill a consummate spirit god. However, the monster was only injured here and was not killed. Obviously, this monster lived at the bottom of the sea all year round. In this place, the monster could unleash its strength while the strength of human warriors was suppressed. The human supreme being's face darkened when he did not kill the monster with one attack. A snow-white battle sword appeared in his hand and he slashed out. A shocking sword light split the sea and slashed the monster's neck. Blat. Blood dyed the sea red and the monster's head was chopped off. However, the monster was not dead for a while after its head was chopped off. Its lower body frantically retreated, trying to shrink back into the cave. However, it only retreated halfway before its vitality was extinguished and it became limp and motionless. There are marine monsters at the bottom of the sea. We have to be careful. Someone whispered and increased their vigilance. Once there were creatures at the bottom of the sea, they would definitely be dangerous and not simple. Everyone continued to dive. The valley was too deep. They dived for another 10,000 meters but they still did not reach the bottom. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly the sea water surged and there was another boom around the valley. Hiss hiss hiss. At the same time, there was a shrill sound that made people's hair stand on end. Then, everyone was shocked to see dozens of behemoths on the walls of the valley pouncing towards them at the same time. "Monster, it's that kind of monster!" Someone screamed in horror. This behemoth that suddenly pounced out was exactly the same as the one that appeared before. Its body was as slender as a python, its eyes were blood red and its mouth was wide open. Its body was covered with scales and it looked terrifying. There were dozens of them here and each of them had a terrifying aura. Caught off guard, more than a dozen human warriors were bitten by the monster without any chance to fight back. The sharp teeth chewed them into pieces and they died on the spot. An exceptionally huge monster pounced towards Hai Tian and the others. "You're courting death." A supreme being roared at the edge of the sea and a spear appeared in his hand. The spear broke through the sea water and fought with the monster. After 3 moves, the monster was nailed to the bottom of the sea. Chapter 1285. What? A monster targeted Lu Ming and bit at Lu Ming's head. The dragon power in Lu Ming's body burst out, and his left hand used the devouring power to envelop the monster. The fingers of his right hand lengthened and turned into dragon claws. Lu Ming grabbed the monster's head with his right hand and tore it off with all his might. Blood gushed out, but it was all devoured by Lu Ming's devouring power. What a rich blood essence, and the demonic power in it is even more astonishing. After devouring the monster's blood essence and demonic power, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. This monster was also a type of demonic beast, but the demonic power in its body was astonishing. The blood essence in its blood essence was also extremely rich, far surpassing that of ordinary human martial artists. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation had reached a bottleneck. After devouring and refining, it was not of much help to him. Kill, kill, kill. Deep in the sea, a fierce battle broke out. Although the dozens of underwater monsters were powerful, they were still easily killed by the human race's supreme martial artist. In the end, dozens of humans died, but the dozens of monsters were killed one by one. Next, everyone continued to dive, but they were even more cautious. Sure enough, not long after, they were attacked again. It was a strange fish. Its body was not big and it looked exactly like a stone. Even its aura was like a stone, as if it was lifeless. However, when Lu Ming and the others approached, the stone-like fish suddenly launched an attack. This fish was not particularly strong, but there were many of them and they were highly poisonous. If a perfected spirit god was bitten by this fish, he would be severely poisoned and paralyzed, unable to fight back. In this battle, dozens of powerhouses died. In the end, they relied on the powerful strength of the Supremes to kill the stone-like fish. However, no one retreated. The temptation of a pure spirit body was too great. Since they had come this far, no one wanted to return empty-handed. Everyone continued to dive. In total, they had dived 300,000 meters into the sea. The water pressure here was simply unimaginable. Moreover, it was pitch black. With Lu Ming's vision, he could only see within 1,000 meters. The others might be able to see even closer. "It's the end," someone said. Everyone relaxed. They had finally reached the bottom. Was the pure spirit body cultivation method here? "Look, there's a crack." Suddenly, someone shouted. Everyone hurriedly gathered over and sure enough, they found a crack. It seemed to be a spatial passage. This is a spatial tunnel. The cultivation method of the pure spirit body must be hidden inside. This thought appeared in everyone's mind, and their eyes couldn't help but become fiery. Just as someone was about to charge in, the seawater in the distance churned, and a furious roar rang out. "How dare you invade my ancestral land? All of you must die." The loud roar was like a dragon's roar, rumbling through the rolling seawater. Then, everyone saw a large group of black behemoths rushing towards them. Demonic beasts, all of them were demonic beasts, and they were all marine demonic beasts. Lu Ming saw huge octopuses, ferocious sharks, and slender eels. The one in the lead was covered in black scales, had dragon horns, and had 4 claws under its belly. It was a flood dragon. It was a black flood dragon. Moreover, the flood dragon had a strong true dragon's aura. It obviously contained a rich true dragon's bloodline. The terrifying aura was enough to make people tremble even if they were far away. Supreme Being, that flood dragon is a Supreme Being expert, and it contains 90% of the true dragon's bloodline. Lu Ming's pupils shrank slightly. A flood dragon with 90% of the true dragon's bloodline was absolutely terrifying. Behind the flood dragon, there were many marine demonic beasts with terrifying auras. Many of them were Supreme Being experts. Not good. Retreat. Charge into the spatial tunnel. Many human experts screamed in horror and turned around to charge into the spatial tunnel. "You're courting death." The flood dragon roared and a black dragon claw stretched out. It grew rapidly and clawed at the human experts. Buff, buff. In an instant, more than 10 high-level spiritual god experts were crushed by the dragon claw. Their bodies and souls were annihilated. Whoosh. The dragon claw didn't stop, and it went for a Supreme Being expert. That Supreme Being expert's face changed. A snow-white saber appeared in his hand, and the saber light was shocking. It broke through the seawater and slashed at the dragon claw. With a loud bang, the saber light shattered. That Supreme Being expert's body shook violently. His face paled and he vomited blood as he was sent flying. The difference was too big. Even though they were both Supreme Being experts, the Flood Dragon was no match for the human experts. They were at the bottom of the sea and the Flood Dragon had an advantage. Moreover, the Flood Dragon had 90% of the true dragon's bloodline, and it was the same as the human experts who had awakened a grade 9 High God Realm bloodline. He was a genius among geniuses. At this time, some human experts had already charged into the spatial tunnel and disappeared. Kill them all. Seeing this, the Flood Dragon became even more furious. He roared again and again and his dragon claw slashed out. Rip. Space was torn apart and seawater flowed into the spatial crack and disappeared. A dragon claw grabbed at Hai Tian and the others. Protect the young master. At the edge of the sea, several supreme beings roared and attacked the black dragon claw together. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying attack evaporated more than 10,000 tons of seawater, creating a vacuum. Several supreme beings joined forces to block the black dragon claw. There are so many experts. Hai Tian and the others attracted the attention of the black flood dragon. It stared coldly at Hai Tian and the others. It let out a dragon roar and pounced towards them. At the same time, several supreme being marine monsters followed the flood dragon and pounced towards Hai Tian and the others. The marine monsters had the advantage under the sea. Now that several supreme beings joined forces, their power was shocking. Hai Tian's face changed drastically, and he was extremely frightened. Boom, boom. Several supreme beings joined forces, but they were still unable to stop the flood dragon and were sent flying. Big brother, save me. Hai Tian screamed in fear. Rip. Hai Yu stepped out and appeared beside Hai Tian. He activated his embryonic domain, and a huge battle axe appeared in his hand. He swung the axe. Clang. The axe collided with the black flood dragon's claw, and a shocking force was released. The force formed a storm that swept out, and some of the weaker supreme beings could not stand steadily. Hai Yu was also in existence who had awakened a level 9 divine bloodline. His battle strength was shocking, and he was not weaker than the flood dragon. Even at the bottom of the sea he was not much weaker. When the two collided, the flood dragon and Hai Yu's body shook slightly, and they retreated a few steps. There's actually an expert like you, but this is the bottom of the sea. Stay here. The black flood dragon roared and attacked Hai Yu. Bring Hai Tian into the spatial tunnel. I'll block them. Hai Yu ordered the other supreme beings, and then used bloodline fusion to fight the flood dragon. Splash. At a glance, one could see that it stretched for hundreds of thousands of li. To think that there was such an ancient city hidden at a depth of more than 300,000 meters under the sea. At this moment, some people were already flying towards the ancient city. Clearly, this ancient city was very likely their final destination. The pure spirit body technique was very likely to be hidden in this ancient city. However, Lu Ming saw a strange scene. When some people flew above the ancient city, it was as if they could not fly, or they were affected by a powerful gravitational force. They could not stay in the air and quickly descended into the ancient city. It seems like you can't fly in this ancient city. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Suddenly, the space around Lu Ming trembled and several figures appeared. Hai Yu, one of them was Hai Yu. Most of the remaining ones were sea monsters such as the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Kill? The moment the Flood Dragon Sovereign appeared, he wanted to kill Hai Yu. However, Hai Yu was not in the mood to fight. He took a step forward and flew towards the ancient city. Lu Ming did not hesitate either. He used his movement technique and flew towards the ancient city. Kill all these humans. The Flood Dragon Sovereign ordered and chased after the ancient city with the sea monsters. When Lu Ming flew above the ancient city, there was indeed an extremely powerful gravitational force. Even with Lu Ming's cultivation, it was difficult for him to maintain flight. He could not help but fall below the ancient city. Lu Ming landed on a street in the ancient city. Hai Yu and the others landed on another street. As soon as he landed on the street, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. At this moment, he felt the bloodline of the prison-suppressing monument trembling slightly. Lu Ming realized that when he stepped on the ground, he seemed to be able to fuse with the earth with the help of the bloodline of the prison-suppressing monument. At this moment he felt that the earth concept seemed to be restless, as if it could break through at any time. This ancient city is 300,000 meters below the sea. It's close to the earth's core. When I step on the ground here, it resonates with the earth. I can clearly sense the earth concept. Lu Ming thought in his heart and guessed the general reason. Perhaps this is an opportunity for me to break through to the peak of the 4th level of the earth concept. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. If his earth concept broke through to the peak of the 4th level, Lu Ming could continue to devour and refine origin stones and break through to the peak of the spirit god realm. Then, the next step would be to comprehend the embryonic form of the domain and break through to the sovereign realm. Boom. Boom. Not far away there was a rumbling sound. It was obvious that someone was fighting. Let's go. Even if there is a pure spiritual body cultivation technique, it must be in the depths of the ancient city. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He took a step forward and rushed towards the depths of the ancient city. Suddenly, a shrill scream came from in front of Lu Ming. Could it be that someone is killing each other? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows and continued to move forward. Not long after, another shrill scream rang out. The scream contained despair and terror, and it caused one's entire body to go cold. It doesn't sound like the scream of someone killing each other. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't help but be careful. He also slowed down his speed. Hoo-hoo. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt a chilly wind blowing on his body, making his hair stand on end. Be careful. Dandan suddenly warned. At the same time, Lu Ming also felt a cold aura approaching him from behind. Lu Ming suddenly turned around and threw out a punch. Boom. The fist energy pierced through the space and a pitch-black space tunnel appeared. However, there was nothing. Lu Ming didn't see anything or any living thing. However, at this moment, Lu Ming felt a cold aura on his neck that was getting closer to him. Swoosh. Lu Ming's palm was like a blade. He slashed out horizontally and swept in all directions. However, when his palm swept across, it was still empty. There was nothing. What the hell is this? Dandan, did you notice? Lu Ming frowned and looked around carefully, but he still found nothing. I didn't notice it either, Lu Ming. This place is very strange. It should be the residence of a powerful existence. Dandan said. You don't have to tell me that. Lu Ming curled his lips. To be able to move an ancient city to a place 300,000 meters deep under the sea, even an ordinary emperor couldn't do it. Only a terrifying existence could do it. How could the residents of such a powerhouse be ordinary? At this moment, another scream came from ahead. It was extremely shrill. Who cares what it is? Since it doesn't dare to appear, I'll continue forward. Lu Ming's eyes were bright. The dragon power in his body erupted. He was ready to fight at any time and stepped forward. In the ancient city, screams could be heard from time to time. What the hell is this? Get out here. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.